It's the second set of heats here at Chestnut. We are good to go. First on the gate is going to be support class in MX3. It was all about Reynard and Wheeler. Can it be the Reynard and Wheeler show as we kick things off for the final time of asking in 2023? On. All right, I'm back live in studio. Matt Hollywood Smith bringing you all the action. The morning session has been absolutely amazing out here at Chestnut, and the track is definitely dried up, boned up, and everything is going to run a little bit smoother, but it's going to be a little bit slicker as well. There's going to be some challenges. The morning session, we kick things off with this gate. This is the second time of asking for the support combined with the MX3s, and once again, Reynard and Wheeler are going to be going at it, trying to see what they can do to get the job done. Does look like Wheeler's got his nose ahead this time around, but of course they're racing out of combined gates. Wheeler in the support class, Reynard in MX3, making it all happen. Really good story about the morning session is the fact that no one has really wrapped up all their titles yet. The only titles that have been done and dusted are the MX2s and MX1s, where Thorough has walked away with 2 number 1 plates, but the second place dices are starting to pick up big time in the championship. And of course, we start to see some new blood and some comeback kids as well. The Wheeler bros back on the money, and it's cool to see what they can do as well. Reynard definitely had the better of Wheeler on the first heat, and this time around though, much stronger pull off the gate for Wheeler. We stay with Reynard as he looks to consolidate and wrap up his MX3 title chase. Coming into this round, Reynard was in good shape though as well. The championship was wrapped up for him. Royce Griffin was his closest rival on the gate, but 344 points shows how strong Reynard was. Incredibly enough, the first set of runs throughout the day, just looking at the numbers on the page, he took 2 second places at the opening round. Since then, Reynard has gone undefeated on his chase up the road to become the first time MX3 champion. Remember, he's got a couple of MX2 and a couple of MX1 championships under his belt from his pro days, but now he is an age group category racer, and MX3 is where he's going to be living. There's 1 or 2 riders that have come in and out of the championship, but the MX3 is unfortunately not super well supported by the riders the whole way through the tour. You can see massive gaps through the second half of the championship points send out. People like Bradshaw, Moore, Kruger, Van Rensburg, Dean Wheeler and Blau and Van Scottbeck, those guys have been in and out of the championship. The riders that have been in it the whole way through the tour, and they've been following the entire tour every single round, and that's been Reynard, Griffin, Watkins, Deploy and Doherty. That's why we see riders with those names at the top of the pile. But it's all about Reynard on a 344 at the moment. trying to just extend and run his numbers once again. So if you hadn't joined us for the morning session, welcome to Chestnut, welcome to the final round of the Racing Championship Tour, the MSA MX Championship Tour in 2023. We've got a ton of racing still to come. We had some very, very wet and challenging conditions this morning, not necessarily coming out of the sky, but because of the rains that we had in the week building up to the event, and it made for some pretty rough conditions. Now what's happening with Chestnut is it is baking. So there's been a lot of moisture pulled out of the ground in the morning session through the racing, but also a light breeze and very, very hot UVs coming through. It's overcast and cloudy, but there's still a lot of heat in the air, so it's going to be very tough to know how to manage the afternoon session. We are on a promise of some possible rain later on this afternoon, maybe around about the ladies gate or the MX1 gate, which will be our final two gates of the day, but we're hoping we can get away without any more rain. That could be a little bit of a dramatic end to the 23 championship for MSA MX. Right now, MX3 and MX support seniors, they're out there for a 15-minute plus a lap. Then it's straight into the high schools, which gave us some incredible action in the morning session. They're going to be out there for 16 minutes plus a lap. Then we go into our junior categories, the 65s, epic racing. 50s, quite a lot of crashes in the early part of the 50s. And then we'll go into the MX2s, 85s, ladies, and MX1s. I think it's going to be fast turnaround in the afternoon session, so we're going to pick up the pace. Apologies for any of the dropouts that we had in the morning session. There were some signal issues that we were fighting out in the Bronco Straight area, but we hopefully are going to be able to ride out a smooth run in the afternoon as we continue our coverage, brought to you by LiveX here at the final round of the MSA MX Championship Tour in 2023, brought to you by TRP Distributors, Venture Sport, Bar Aviation Prepsol, Red Bull SA, Missing Second, WIM, and Bandit Graphics. I'm Matt Hollywood Smith, and the boys out there getting us all the footage of the LiveX crew getting the job done out there for you beautiful people. Our goal is to obviously bring you all of the championship tour throughout the 2024 series, and this is our first time working with this amazing tour. It's fun to be back at the motocross tracks for sure, as Reynard continues to dominate. If you guys are watching and you want to check up on my information, I'm getting all of the live timing through on Pro Timing. You guys can go and log on to that. They've got live timing up throughout the day. And at the moment on the gate, confirmation of the combined MX3 and MX Senior support heat number 2, where Wheeler is running the numbers out front. He is gone. Looks like he has really got himself dialed in at the moment. Dean Wheeler running out front ahead of Reynard. Then Brandon Wheeler, who's leading out in the seniors. So that's going to be fun to see what he can do. So Dean Wheeler on the Yami. He went out there racing on the MX1 gates as well. Didn't look like he was in super comfortable shape, but certainly looks like a different rider when he lines up on this particular gate, riding out of his age group category. It's funny to think that Dean Wheeler, one of the last times I commentated on him racing motocross was when he just come out of the junior ranks. So Dean Wheeler out there ahead of Reynard, then Brandon Wheeler. So the brothers are the sandwich, with Reynard being the meat. And then Doherty, that's Levi Doherty, Keegan Deploy, Aston Allen, Jonathan Deploy, Sheldon Watkins, Andrew Mostert. Much better gate this time around on the Husqvarna 250 Smoker for Ancat Racing. He's ahead of Brett Field, Ricardo Caforio, then Tyron Watkins, Quinton Foster, and Dylan Duplessis. Apologies for my mispronunciation there. I was just catching up on all of the names. Remember, after this we'll go straight into the high school gate, then our juniors, and then into our pro categories. Right now, everyone enjoying their time out there as we pick up on the riders. 757 of Sheldon Watkins, he's running out there in 8th place at the moment, running consistent 2-minute 30s on the KTM. Remember, a lot of these guys are self-funded riders. Geez, that rut out the back there is getting super deep, as these riders are going to have to change up. I think that's going to be the story of the afternoon session, where riders will be running Alright, just checking in with sound. Looks like we had a mic drop out there for a second there, so we are back on comms. Hey, there's nothing quite like going live at these sporting events, especially in Bronkhorstspruit for some reason. Anyway, we are back making it all happen as we continue our action in the closing stages of the second heat of our Support and MX3 riders. Straight after this, we go into the MX High Schools, where once again another championship will be on the line. We'll talk about that in just a second, but it is going to be nail-biting for a lot of the sponsors and their riders, as a lot of these championships have come way, way, way down to the ground. The high schools have already been wrapped up, so it's very much a dice for second, third, and fourth. And that dice got even closer and tighter at the end of the first racing heat of the high schools. Right now, closing in on the last lap or so of the combined Support and MX3s. Andrew Mostert gets his second time to shine on the camera. Big improvements between the practice session, heat number 1 and heat number 2 for him. He'll be happy to record one of his best ever lap times on a 2:37.5, and starting to come to grips and terms with a different power delivery on the Husqvarna 2-stroke 250. It's good that he's actually made that move to that machine as well. When he started riding MX, it was on his, we would call an enduro bike, so just changing his suspension setup. Now with a full motocross setup on his machine, you can see he's able to actually rail all the lines. Spoke to him last night and he was talking to me about his suspension setup. Said pretty much hasn't changed anything from this bike. Got it just the other day. Basically just set his bars, set his levers, and went out and went racing. So nice to see Andrew Mostert from ANCAT Racing enjoying his time on motocross. He's going to go full-time MX next year as he continues to develop as a rider. A junior cross-country and enduro standout rider, and now starting to go and play on the jumps and whoops. So the last lap board comes out for Big Wheeler, and right on cue we get a nice big whip right in front of the Thatch spectator zone. Mostert starting to look a little bit tired as he works the inside ruts on the flatland sections of the track, and that's Big Wheeler. It's actually medium-sized Wheeler. Dean Wheeler, the younger brother, Brandon Wheeler, the older brother. Dean Wheeler out there, starting to look like his old self once again, bringing the big Yamaha up the road. Using the support class as kind of a way to come back into the sport. He knows he's got the pro speed, just needs to work on his consistency, but support is great for that, for riders who have been out the game for a while or want to come into the sport from other facets of the sport like cross country and enduro. So very cool to see that happening. And then of course MX3, the age group categories where Wheeler actually sits, and if you're a former pro, then you can come into your age group and ride with like-aged riders, everyone carrying the same amount of injuries, and most of the riders going and buying their own bikes out of the shops with money in their own pockets. So always fun to see the support category and the MX3s racing together, like-minded people. So we're on the last lap. Wheeler just enjoying the show, climbing his way down to the finish line. A nice bowl turn. It's one of the big features here at Chestnut. A low bowl and then a high bowl. Then you start working your way through to the finish line zone. This is the split section, inside and outside. Most of the riders will go to the inside, set you up better for the next left-hander, and then start working your way down through the forest. One small turn, you come out of the forest, and then there's a flat jump, or you jump too flat, should I say. Turn the right as we're going out here, past the Ventures Court arch. A flat jump, then a nice little easy step up for riders like Wheeler. Inside rut to the right, inside rut to the left, and the checkers will come out, and it smiles all the way for Dean Wheeler, who's back on money, back on point, and he brings the Yamaha home to see the checkers with a celebratory nice start. Lovely work from Wheeler, putting massive time into his competition. Second place is going to go to Anthony Reynard, and he's going to get second place in the MX3s. Brandon Wheeler third in the overall and first in the MX Senior Support, followed by Levi Doherty, King of Deploy, Aston Allen, Jonathan Deploy, Sheldon Watkins, and Andrew Mostert in ninth place, beating out on Brett Fields. That's our top 10. That is the final time of asking for the MX3 and MX Seniors. Next up, it's MX High Schools.
replays.
Okay, down to the start line as the afternoon breeze starts to pick up quite nicely, and it's the second time of asking and the final time of asking for our high school 125 Warriors. Some amazing racing coming into play in the morning session for these guys, and we're expecting to see more of the same. The 101 of Detroit, he was absolutely styling, as was Van Veek, but watch out for Lucas Venter and the rest of the riders to climb up the road. We're looking and hoping for a better start coming out of Blake Young. He had a nightmare in the first heat. As a start official gives us the big get-go, all eyes will turn to the 15 and 30-second board, or 30-second and 15-second board, before we drop the flag and drop the hammer to get the job done once again. A little bit of twitching going on there. Watch out for Lucas Venter. Looks like he got a good pull going out on the 121. We lose them just behind the Red Bull section. As, oh man, you see that big scrub coming out of the 101. Once again, Warren Detroit showing us what's what out there. Geez, Detroit is an absolute rocket coming off the gate. Looks like a much better pull from a couple of the KTM riders. So the 44 climbing the road there, that looked like it is Bruce Young. So Bruce Young has got a much better run going this time around on the 44. He was almost out the back door on the first set of racing heats. He's the rider we're watching there on the neon yellow. See, he's running in a number 2 spot at the moment. Himself and Bart Toy absolutely ripping the bars off at the moment. But what a story. Comeback race coming in for Blake Young. It is Blake Young. It is Blake Young, not Bruce Young, Blake Young. So Blake out the back door in heat number 1 and coming charging strong, running in a number 2 spot. He's the rider that is trying to nail down that number 2 spot in the championship. But Van Veek pulled back some big time on him in the first racing heat. Remember, Van Veek was absolutely ripping on that Fantic, riding on the 747 out of KwaZulu-Natal and Team Ridgeway Rockstar Racing. But now it's going to be all about Blake Young trying to take the heat and take the pace all the way up to the back wheel of Warren Detroit. Much cleaner start this time around. Not too many riders going down. But the track is definitely going to suit a hard-packed rider and a rider who's able to be creative with his line choice. And it looks like that is what's going on with Blake Young this time around, as he's definitely got the matching of Detroit. Detroit goes inside, Young goes outside. So creative lines and clever decisions is going to be the story of the second half of today's racing at the MSA MX final round of the championship. Big holes developing as well, coming out of the turns, acceleration bumps out of the big whoops. And 1 and 2, the 101 the Racing Husqvarna coming out of Toy, and the TRP Distributors KTM of Blake Young on the 44. Looks like they're starting to stretch things out a little bit as well. We'll keep an eye on the ticking clock to try and understand how the race is going to unfold and develop, as we've got 16 minutes plus a lap to decide who can get the job done out here at Chestnut. First and second place riders doing good, and then we're going to pick up on Van Beken, the Fantic. Once again, he is trying to defend against, I think it's Van Deventer on the gas on his back wheel at the moment, and the rest of the guys trying to kind of understand where they're gas makes the pass there on the flatland section, just carried a whole ton of speed. Looks like Van Beken anchored up pretty early on the Fantic, and Van Deventer is absolutely ripping now. Gets up, makes the pass, and he is gone. I don't know if there's a problem on the Fantic rider machine, but Van Deventer just slid past like Van Beken, who stood still. One of the taller, rangier riders, and he is definitely making it count. Check the guys lining up just behind the shot though. Van Beken is in trouble. He's got around about 2 or 3 riders on his back wheel at the moment. So he was trying to defend a 3rd place. Now he's defending 4th, maybe 5th, 6th or 7th. Yeah, there's Van Beken. So he's in 4th place. So he has reacted. I don't know if he had a problem there, but he got closed down really quickly. I think it's Adler coming up on his back wheel at the moment, and Grundy. So Adler and Grundy are going to be working against him. The 268 and the number 1 bike are going to be coming after Cade Van Deventer and Van Beken. There's second place. He's coming through there. That's Young. He's in good nick. Look at Van Deventer go. He is like a different rider than he was in the first racing heat. Obviously did not enjoy the kind of slimy, almost non-grip conditions that we had this morning. Adler's going after Van Beken. Much more racy in the afternoon session from our high school 125ers. So 4.5 minutes gone, 11.5 minutes to go. Detroit leads by only 1.8 seconds ahead of Young. Then Van Beken, Van Deventer, Adler, Grundy, Peterson, Duro, Venter, and Peterson. That's the top 10 at the moment. In the championship, remember, Young came into this round with a slender lead. 13 points in it ahead of Van Beken. Van Beken pulled back a chunk to make it a real fun fight going into the final set of heats. Van Beek's doing a good job at the moment, but yeah, he'll know that his competition is Blake Young, and he'll want to see that neon yellow kit up the road. If I was Blake Young, I wouldn't have put on that kit. You don't want anyone to know where you are on the track. It's going to give them hope, and they're going to come after you and come chasing. Van Beken looks like he's rebounding at the moment. You can still see the dust coming off the back wheel of Van Deventer, just out of shot. So Van Beken may be able to rebound, but look at Adler coming on strong there. Van Beken, his line choice at the moment is just not buying him the speed that he needs. He's not carrying enough corner speed. He's going for all the inside tight lines, and that's just killing all of his momentum. Cade Van Deventer on the last lap put in the fastest lap of the race. So the Gas kid from KZN is on a burner at the moment. You see him at the top left of the shot there, just starting to close things down. There's our race leader. Then you'll see the neon yellow, and then not long after that is the Gas rider in all black. So Van Deventer is looking very tasty at the moment, and I think he's the big threat in this race. Van Beken reacted nicely. Took him about a lap and a half to recover, but I think that pressure that's getting applied by Adler behind him is really giving him the hurry up. Hard pack at this track, suiting the 125s much better. They don't have to gear down so much. They can rail and carry a little bit more speed. Remember, these things don't put out a hell of a lot of power, so they really have to carry all that corner speed as best as they can. Take a lot of chances. You watch the front end of these bikes chattering sometimes as they go into the turns, because they just don't want to scrub off any excess speed. They want to keep it railing. So Detroit, Young, Van Deventer, Van Beken, Adler, they're all over each other. Just off the back end of that group is Grundy. Remember, Grundy's already got the job done. He's wrapped up his championship. He had a near perfect season. Only got beaten once or twice on the whole tour. So he's come into this round. He's already rocking the number 1 place. He's got the job done. and he's going to be moving on up next year to focus on the MX2 series. Nothing better than rocking up to the last race with a championship already in hand and just kind of rubbing your competition's nose in it with the big #1 plates. Already into the lappers by the looks of it. No, it's not the lappers, sorry. It's looks like the same kit as Brian DeToy, but it's a little bit further down the pipe. That looks like it's Lucas Spencer and Blake Osner who are having a nice little dice out the back end there. These are the guys that are trying to break their way into a top 10. The 210 of Blake Osner down there in 11th place with the 121 of Lucas Spencer in 10th. The 114 is in the mix there as well. That's Damien Fenter. You expect a rider like Damien Fenter to be running a little bit higher than this. He's had a bit of a tough season, but even for himself, he would expect to be running at least inside of the top 5. A lot of these riders having a long, tough run of things in 2023. Just caught up with Tyler Peterson there, coming through one of the late turns in the forest section. As Spencer and Osner find each other once again as they come back into the center of the track. The big step up going down into the ruts and then eventually going into the bowl turns. Interesting to see the 125s hitting those inside lines there. Obviously the outside of that big bowl turn got a little bit blown out and maybe just not offering any kind of grip now. It does get very greasy in there when it gets hard packed and dried out. So that's the 114 of Damien Fenter sitting down there in 12th place, but he's not that far off the race lead. You know, the high school 125s tend to run very equal times, certainly the riders inside of the top 10. And I think if I do a quick lap count, there is maybe just over 12 seconds separating the top 10 at the moment on lap times. So not a bad run, especially for these guys just trying to crack their way inside the top 10 at the moment. There's our race leader. Camera just pulling the focus there. And that's Henny up there on the crane. He's getting all the big high long shots of Brian DeToy and Blake Young as they are out there climbing the ladders. Triple 4 of Tristan Duro. He's had a bit of an up and down day today. Haven't really gelled with the track and the race conditions so far. He's sitting down there in a number 7. So he'd have been expecting to be running a little bit higher than that. But yeah, just hasn't had the day the way that he wanted it. Maybe some setup on his bike not perfect this morning. And you know, sometimes with a motocross, if you on the back foot to start with, you can never kind of find your way forward. It's a short day. You only get a little bit of practice in the morning, 6 laps to set up your bike in very different conditions to what the track looks like now. So sometimes you can go the wrong way with your setup. Obviously the brother of Cam Duro and Tristan trying to make a name for himself, running out of the KTM Motorex colors on both the high school 125 and MX2 gates. Trying to develop as a rider and a brand all of his own. Still with a good support package underneath the KTM Motorex racing tents. Just over 5 minutes to go in the second running of the high school MX 125s. Next up will be the crazy 65cc gate, where we'll once again, I think, see much faster lap times getting turned in by our junior riders as they go out there and take on the big time. Oh, there we go. One of the riders going down there. The rut's just not holding up there. Looks like he might have missed a gear as well. I think when he got back on the gas and then tries to pick up the bike on the wrong side. Just wrong-footed there. That is the 44 of Tristan Duro. He's going to go backwards, lose a couple of positions. He'll be sitting possibly outside of the top 10 now. So that just shows you, I think as he came into that section, he got a little bit cross-rutted, maybe a little bit confused about which line he wanted to be on. And then when he started to understand where he was on the track, he was out of position, possibly out of the gear that he wanted to be in. And when he grabbed a handful, there was not a lot there. The bike just fell over. For me, I think he went down into neutral and there was nothing there. And then just a little bit of panic trying to get up too quickly and stood up and got his feet in the wrong place, fell over the other side of the bike. So it's going to be up to him to kind of bounce back and recover. We'll see him on the gate in a couple of heats time though when he gets his second bite of the cherry on the MX2s, the 250Fs. But for now, just a draw. Just picking up the pieces of a rough day in the saddle on the MX High Schools. We've been watching the tall figure of Bryce Peterson. He's on the number 12 machine. He's sitting in a number 7 spot at the moment. Quite a good day at the office. Not a bad run of form in heat number 1 for him. Also running out of the Motorex colours. So he'll have kind of waved at his stablemate, DeRoe, on his way past. You don't laugh when a rider goes down, but yeah, you do sometimes celebrate the fact that you didn't have to work for the pass and you can just slide on by. Once again, the fastest man on track, the guy with the fastest lap times, is Van Deventer. Van Deventer has now moved up and made the pass on Blake Young. So while we've been watching all that chaos that's been happening a little bit further down, look at the story out front. We're going to watch this battle for a while now because Barnard du Toit is getting closed down by the gas of Van Deventer. But seriously, there is less than 2 seconds in it now. So Van Deventer, look at him, the tall kid is getting the job done. Something has clicked in the second racing hit for Van Deventer. Remember, he is absolutely ripping it at the moment, trying to get the job done, riding out of Alfie Cox Racing, ASP International Rope, Halls, Motorex, Pit Boss, USN and TRP on the gas, making the trip up from KZN. Hopefully we're going to go back to that leading dice that's been going on. This is the race leader, Barnard du Toit, but for how much longer? Because Van Deventer is right there with him. We'll stay with this battle as we are about 2 minutes and a lap away from the end of this race. And we're coming into the lappers. That's going to change the race format completely. Du Toit knows that he's in a dice. I hope that lapper gets out the way. Hopefully he doesn't just sit on the race line because Du Toit needs a little gap at the moment. You can see the pressure that he is under. He may have found a little bit of respite there. So Van Deventer has been making some really clever moves, really clever passes on the track. But I think the lappers have found him. And the advantage is going to swing back the way of Barnard du Toit. That previous lap, Du Toit on the 101 factory Husqvarna had a 1.7 second lead. Now it's going to get a little bit bigger than that. So we've gone back and picked up on a rider further down. That's Blake Osner in 11th place, riding very similar race kits to our race leader, of course, who races on the 101. So we'll try and find our race leader. There he is. That's the 101, starting another lap. So it should be about 2 or 3 laps to go for Barnard du Toit, as Cad Van Deventer will be just praying that he can do all that hard work once again and close him down. He's lost some time there for sure. What was 1.7 is now 2.9. So the lapper or lappers on that previous lap definitely costing Van Deventer some big time. But du Toit cannot take his eyes off the prize or his hand off the throttle at any point at all. One little mistake, one overshoot, one fall over, and Van Deventer is just going to blow by. I think the gap's good enough to manage though. It looks like they're in good shape. Next time they come around and see the finish line, it is going to be 1 lap to go at the end of the lap. They're around about maybe 25 seconds away from the end of the lap, as Du Toit probably won't know how close he came to getting closed down by Van Deventer. He's in the midsection of the track now. Timing section. Du Toit is very good through here. You've got to get it on the money every single lap. Bang it into those ruts nice and early. He knows Van Deventer's there. He's kind of like looking over his shoulder the whole time. But the 101 has done a nice reaction. It came down to probably less than 1.5 seconds at probably about 2 laps ago. And then as soon as they hit some of the tastier lappers who were quite close to their lap times, it changed things up completely. So there's Du Toit. He's going to just disappear around the corner into that low point section before they turn around, land out of the forest. Then they hit the sky jump next to Venture Sports. Nice big step up. Hard on the inside into the ruts. It's inside rut here. Look how deep those things are getting now. Oh, that's the mid rut. And it's 1 lap to go for Du Toit. Should have been 1 lap to go for Du Toit. Yeah, it is. 1 lap to go. I just saw our pit board lady on the right-hand side So Du Toit knows exactly what he's got to do. Is one more lap. Just seeing what times he's been running. He reacted quite nicely. That previous lap, he posted his fastest lap of the race, a 2:02. Just to compare, Van Deventer almost broke the 2-minute there. He did a 2:00.2. So that's an incredible lap time coming in for Van Deventer. But the last 3 laps, Du Toit reacted quite nicely. And when he crossed the stripe there to start his final lap, he had a 3.6 second buffer. So he's in good shape, no mistakes, and he should be able to bring this one home. Du Toit's going to be climbing the ladder. He's done a nice run in the championship. A little bit inconsistent, unfortunately. Didn't find the going too good on the early part of the season on some of the tracks that we went to as part of the early running of the MSA MX Championship. 10th on points coming into this round, showing his inconsistency. But this is going to move him up quite nicely in the championship. We've had a lot of riders pull out to the sidelines in the last half of the championship with late season injuries. Du Toit possibly on for climbing his way inside of a top 6 or 7 and not too far away from seeing the checkers. But spare of thought for the gas rider coming in super hard. Cade Van Deventer charging, putting in the fastest lap at the final time of asking, and very nearly putting enough pressure on this man, Brian Du Toit, to be able to see the big checkers. So in the closing stage of the race, next up on the line will be our MX65 Crazy Kids, lined up, locked and loaded and ready to go. Right now though, Du Toit over-revving, over-jumping, desperate to see the finish line. He's going to get it. It's job done. He didn't crack under immense pressure. And Brian Du Toit takes the final MX 125 high school flag of the season and celebrates with a nice whip. But hats off to Van Deventer. What a charge. Blake Young in 3rd place and Grundy close to a podium with a 4th. Next up, MX65s. Hey, we're back with you guys as we continue our action from the second set of racing heats at the final time of asking for the MSA MX Championship Tour in 2023. Chestnut is bringing us all of the action. We are now deep into the afternoon session where we pick up on the second racing heat of our 65cc races. It was a wild time out. Let's see who gets the cheese this time around as they pick up timing as they cross the beam for pro timing. Trenton Kreutzmann gets the job done, gets the whole shot, gets the cheese, and puts half a second straight away into Ross McKenzie, Evan Frost, Aidan Retief, Raiden Wolves, and Bensel and Howell picking up the pieces in 6th and 7th, with Barwise down in 8th ahead of Van Sale and Graven. Kreutzmann was strong in the first heat. Let's see what he's got for us this time around as everyone goes out there to see what is in store for them. With motocross, the first set of racing heats looks totally different to the second set, with an ever drying and developing track out here. Ross McKenzie, that's a rider we're picking up at the moment, running out of the gas colors. He's sitting in second place, trying to pull back that early advantage that is getting dominated by Trenton Kreutzmann. A nice cluster of riders breaking off the front here, running in the top 6 with a 2-horse race as they come out of the trees to decide the minor placings. Remember, this championship was not done and dusted. Kreutzmann carrying a 15-point advantage ahead of Frosty coming into this round. Van Sale, Retief, Bennett and Wolves McKenzie inside of the top 7. But as with all of the championships, barring around about 3 of them that were wrapped up already coming into this round, everything is on the plate and still to play for, with people chasing those coveted national number 1 plates. McKenzie's in trouble here though. Frosty and Retief are getting after him quickly. Watch out for the inside, outside. The cutbacks outside did not work that time. The big number 1 of Evan Frost sweeps around and gets his nose ahead into second place. And he is going to go after Kreutzmann to see if he can get on the back wheel of this kid. That's a big gap though. Look at that. Whoa. Did it take him too long to react, to get the nose ahead? Time will tell. But 1 and 2 are gone, and at the moment McKenzie on the gas starting to feel some big pressure now coming from Retief and Wolves. The guys are queuing up behind McKenzie right now. McKenzie making a ton of mistakes, loses 3 positions in one corner, and that was just pure pressure. He just cracked completely in those ruts at the end of the second lap. We'll see if McKenzie can rebound from those mistakes. But look at the pace start to pick up of the chasing pack. It's a big change up on that lap. Kreutzmann, no change out front. 4.5 seconds is the advantage. But Frosty now moves to second. Wolves to third. Van Sale to 4th. And Retief to 5th. With McKenzie getting blown out the back door. Out of the top 5. Fastest rider on that previous lap. Cassie Van Sale, the rider on the 2:34. Sitting in 4th place. Ooh, loving this second set of racing heats. Something has definitely changed up. Ryder just jammed up in the ruts there at the back of the course. Don't think it was one of our racing top 5 or 6. One of our lower riders, maybe Graven, Walker or Odendahl, just getting jammed up out the back door. I actually think it was the colors of Barwise, who was running bike number 40 in heat number 1. So Barwise looks like the rider that got jammed out the back door there. He was sitting in 8th place as well, so that's a pity. Some lovely racing happening here and unfolding. The number 1 of Evan Frost looking good, but even better is Wolves. In the championship, Frosty sitting in a number 2 spot on 3:10, and Wolves quite a long way down in the championship hunt, but not too far off in numbers. He's sitting 6th at the moment on a 2:36. So yeah, there's still some points up for play, and none of these kids is gonna bow out of this one. Everyone wants to get the job done. Love this race between Frosty and Wolves. Let's just pick up on the shopping list. Frosty riding out of KZN on the ASP International Limited Motorex Alpicox Racing KTM SA TRP US NSA and Hall's Retail. That's Evan Frost on the big number 1 plate. Woolsey, let's see what he's got on the shopping list. Wolves riding out of Husqvarna and Torcroft on the 345. Those famous Torcroft colours, but look at the kid running out front. The tallest kid by about a foot out there. And Kretschmann is just loving the conditions out here today. Riding out of Husqvarna Ridgeway, and he is getting the job done. 3.4, he's consistent. He's not getting away, but he is consistently holding the gap that he is managing out front. Love this kid's riding style. Just a little bit too big for the bike, but somehow making it count, making it work on the famous 94. He's got the big number in red on the front. He's got the red plates, and he stalls it out. So that's our race, and the number 1 stalls out as well. Both getting caught out in the ruts. Kretschmann reacted quick enough though, and he has left Frosty down and licking his wounds in the rut. So that means Cassie Van Sale and Wolves are going to be moving up in the order big time. That's going to change things up. We'll stay with our race leaders, as that mistake from Kretschmann has opened things up completely and changed the face of the second half of this race. So Kretschmann made the mistake first, but he kept his hand on the clutch. Evan Frost going down almost in sympathy in the same rut, or trying to get around the downed rider of Kretschmann, and he made an even bigger mistake. So we're going to have to see if that number 1 can react and pull back some time. Kretschmann got up and was out of there like a scalded cat though, because he knew Van Sale and Wolves would be just around the corner and trying to pull up their socks to get after him. This is Van Sale we're keeping an eye on now. He's now moved up into the number 2 spot on the track, and he's going to try and see if he can close down on Kretschmann. Kretschmann came into that last lap with a 3.4 second lead. I think that is gone by half at least coming to the end of this one. Dream situation for Ridgeway Husqvarna, as they've got their both their stars running 1 and 2 right now. So it's actually a change in race lead. It's Cassie Van Sale who comes across the stripe. He did make the pass on Kretschmann, so now it is going to be Van Sale leading ahead of Kretschmann. So that changes things up completely. Cassie Van Sale is going to be jumping up in the championship racing order. Came into this round 3rd on championship points on a 282, not too far off Frosty. But this is going to really, really have everyone with the calculators out biting their fingernails to see what they can do about this. No reaction from Frosty. Wolves actually came through and is currently sitting in 3rd place, with Frosty just about half a second off his back wheel. So the dice for 3rd has kind of just begun. 1st and 2nd though, I think they're gone now. The 2 Husky riders checking out. Oh, don't tell me that's another rider going down in a rut. Was that our race leader? It might be our race leader that just went down there in the inside rut. Cassie Van Sale was waiting to get a confirmation of that shot. We're staying with Kretschmann. I just want to see if there's a rider in front of Kretschmann at the moment. I don't think there is. So Kretschmann looks like he has made the pass to take the lead back once again. And that inside rut, the exact same rut that took out Kretschmann and Frosty, has taken out Van Sale. Almost just want to see like a corner ahead of this to see if Cassie Van Sale is ahead of Kretschmann, but I don't think he is. I think Kretschmann's got this one. And that was Cassie Van Sale that was lying down in the rut, trapped by his bike and could not get up. I saw a load of marshals and pickup marshals out there to resolve the issue. The issue though for Cassie Van Sale is he's out of this. So that Kretschmann has had a very lucky run of form. He went down in the rut first, was able to react quick enough to stay in the top 3 hunt, and then both of his rivals on the racetrack and in the championship have gone down in sympathy. Kretschmann, he's going to end this lap as the race leader with 4 minutes and a lap to go. Sure. how quickly things can turn around in motorsport. Kind of just staring at my timing screen at the moment, waiting for it to tell me the story that I need to know, and there's confirmation. Kretsman, the rider that we're watching on screen, is our race leader, and he will now be managing a pretty tasty lead. And it should be Raiden Wolves. No, Frosty. Frosty went with him. So Frosty got around the rider that went down in the rut 2 laps ago, running the number 1 plate. He is there in second place, but he's off the back wheel to the tune of 8.2 seconds. Raiden Wolves in 3rd place. Mackenzie, who got beaten up on lap 2, is now back up into 4th place. And he's got a chance of maybe closing down on Wolves. And then Retief and Van Sale. Van Sale lost a lot of time getting caught up in that rut just 2 laps ago. Sure. Loving the excitement and the drama and the different type of racing that has come out on the second set of heats as the track dries up and goes old school hard pack. It's created completely different riding and racing. After this, we stay with our junior category races and we go down in CCs to the 50cc gates. Hopefully the riders won't tangle like they did off the gate on heat number 1, and we get a little bit of closer boxing out there on the course. So Kretsman in charge completely here. Over 8 seconds was his lead last time around, and I think he knows he's got this one in the bag. Just over 2 minutes plus a lap remain for the tall kid on the 94 Husqvarna racing machine. And I think even he will say he kind of got away with this one. He had to have a lot of luck on his side, but when it was against him, he didn't react too badly. When it was with him, he ran. So it's Frosty in the number 2 spot, then Wolves, Mackenzie in 4th, Retief, Van Sale, Wenzel, Barwise, Graven, and Howell take us to the top 10, with Odendahl and Quade Walker taking us 11th and 12th. So no real fights on the track at the moment. Big gaps blowing open, especially outside of the top 5. No last lot board that time around, so I think it is going to be 2 laps to go. Should be 2 laps to go. Won't take them much longer than that to see their second checkers of the day. And Kretsman, yeah, in a way, very much proving why he is a champion. Undefeated at round 1. He took a beating at round number 2, losing out in the second racing heat. Took a huge beating at heat number 1 of round number 3, dropping down to 4th place, and then rebounded with a win. Then a whole ton of second places before we headed into domination. Coming out of Rover, we got a win in a second place, and then Rover, which was our doubleheader round, he got 2 wins on the second day. So Rover and the sand turned this rider's season around and allowed him to run off the front. Stylish, classy rider, and he's going to back things up with some great performances out here at Chestnut for the final round of the MSA MX Championship in 2023. Lost a little bit of time the previous lap, so Frosty and Wolves have been pushing each other on. Frosty in particular, he's got a 9-second lead over Wolves, so Frosty in good shape as long as he doesn't fall over in a rut as well. 7.4 seconds the gap. First to second. You can see the bowl turns, the junior riders definitely favoring the outside lines. The inside ruts are just chopped up too much. It's not just the fact that they are running deep, but they've also got acceleration bumps in them as well, which causes even more problems to the smaller wheels. Their suspension, smaller wheels, it's all quite a difficult setup for these machines. You've got to remember, 65cc bikes go out on the exact same track as a 450 MX1 machine, so it's a challenge. Kretsman, around about 20 seconds away from seeing the last lap board to wrap up his almost perfect day out here at Chestnut. 1 to go. It's a happy moment there. Lots of support on the sidelines. Let's run through the shopping list. Frosty still holds second place. He's brought the time down as well. He throws down a hot lap there. He's got it down to 4.8 seconds crossing the line, but he's not going to pull back 4.5 seconds on one lap of racing, even if Kretzmann does start to roll out a little bit. Wolves, yeah, I think he's not going to be able to close any better than a third place, losing a little bit of extra time to Frosty. Maybe getting closed down a little bit by Mackenzie, but I don't think those positions will change with a lap to go. Next up will be our 50cc riders, as we just enjoy the Kretzmann show and the Husqvarna rider as he enjoys his half lap of survival to see the checkers once again. Nice ride through the bold turns into the timing section. His kid style telling us that he is going to be the categories. Remember, out of 65s, you travel up the road to the 85s. Maybe there for 1 or 2 seasons, then jump up into the high school 125s. Also, probably good to spend maybe 1 or 2 seasons on the bigger bikes. Then you jump straight up into the pro gates, into the MX2s. Give this kid, I don't know, what, 4 years? And he'll be on MX2 and MX1 gates. Pro and riders of the like. Disappears around the back into the small forest. A low section, then you jump up out of the forest, turn right, you do the flat land, next to Venture Sports Arch, click through the gears, swing off the back, nice little blip of the throttle into the step up, through the ruts on the inside. He's been so fast in that section. Rails the outside, and Kretzmann will take the checkers once again in the MX65s, and that with style as well. So Trenton Kretzmann on the 94 riding out of Ridgeway Husqvarna gets the job done. Then it's Frosty, Wolves, Mackenzie, Retief and Van Sale will bring all the kids home on the checkered flag as we get ourselves ready for the 50cc Warriors, who are in the gates and coming up next. Okay, we head back down onto the gates for our junior category races. A small adjustment to the track to bring us back onto the small gate. Morning session very tough for our junior riders. 4 riders getting swamped out, crossed up, and hooking bars coming out of the gate. We're hoping they have a cleaner start this time. We've got Mason Barnes, Dorian Burtis, Jared Burtis, Parker Sick, Trey Dean, Aiden Fisher, Riley Hildenace, Luan Jordan, Kobe Kretzman, Joshua Zion Nordia, Bjorn Ritz, Milan Rue, and Mason Fisser lined up, locked, and ready to go. This is the future of motocross. This is where it all starts. As they position themselves once again, the start official just making sure that we have a full course clear, but also making sure that the marshals are closing off the one loop at the back of the course. Makes it a slightly easier lap for our 50cc racers. Start official begins his big walk. Just making sure that all the kids are good to go. You'll see all the kids raise their chins. That's to show that their helmets are done up. Moms and dads get the bike kicked into life. And then it's all up to the kids as the mom and dads step back and allow the kids to do their thing. For now, the weather holding. Looks a little bit damp and grey down there, but it's still actually quite warm. We've hit the high 20s. Even though it's not blistering sunshine, it's still very warm out here in the middle of Bronkhorstspruit. But the afternoon wind is promising something. There's definitely something getting blown across the valleys. Right now, hammer time for our junior racers. Looked like a good pull off the gate coming out of the 84 of Dorian Burtis. And Joshua Zion Nordia as well, coming out of the Eastern Cape on the 34 machine. No tangling of riders, so pretty cool. All the kids have made it up and through the start chute. And with the hardening and drying conditions for our junior riders, things should be a little bit easier in the afternoon session. You definitely see the 333 of Parker Sick sitting in the number 2 spot. He's the rider in the bright neon yellow. Couldn't quite see who got the cheese though and got the whole shot, but it's Sick sitting in the number 2 spot. I'm sure timing and scoring will update shortly and tell us who got the big hole shot going out there onto lap number 1. It was Riley Hildenace, so the 3-3 and the 3-3. So Riley Hildenace out front once again with Parker Sick out there in the number 2 spot. Toby Kritzman got a good run. Oh, that's our race leader going down there. So once again, that flatland section and the big ruts causing major problems. So Riley Hildenace going down. Plenty of pickup marshals out there to recover him though. So Parker Sick in the neon yellow colors on the 333 is going to have a nice big lead at the moment. Kobe Kritzman, Luan Jordan, and Alessandro Greeny got a really good gate this time out. So hopefully he can hold it together. He's currently sitting inside of the top 4. But watch for the comeback ride coming in from Riley Hildenace on the 333. Getting a shot there of Kobe Kritzman. He's sitting in 3rd place at the moment. That's the back section. That's where a lot of the pickup marshals, in other words the dads, are out there to make sure the kids are able to recover. Even the 65cc showed us that ruts can be the big undoing of these smaller machines, and they don't come any smaller than the 50cc's. Smaller on frame, smaller on gas, and much smaller on wheels as well, as the race starts to settle into its rhythm. The 50cc's, we're going to be out there for 12 minutes plus a lap, and then we go into our final 4 racing heats, starting things out with the MX2s, the first of the pro bangers. That's going to be a 20-minute plus a lap. Kids are loving racing out here on the 2nd racing heat of Chestnuts. Parker Sick looks like he is off the front and gone at the moment. Super easy to spot him on his bright neon kit. Confirmation of him controlling the lead out front. Look at the size of that gap. That's going to be well over 5 seconds at the moment. Well, pretty close anyway. So Parker Sick, no big surprise to see him throw down the fastest lap of the afternoon, and with that extends to a 6.8 second lead over Kobe Kritzman on the 15 machine. Luan Jordan riding the number 20 machine, he's down there in third place, and Greeny, Alessandro Green, having one of the best rides of his season, currently sitting in the fourth place. So that's good for Greeny, and a lot of riders pulling some big points back at the late part of the season. This is the second place battle we're watching on track at the moment. Kritzman and Jordan separated by less than a second at the moment, so we'll stay with this battle right now because that looks like it is going to heat up big time. Sick is off the front at the moment, but Kritzman and Jordan picking up the pieces of second and third, and no one too close to their back wheel as well, so they can have a straight out fight for the rest of this race. 3 3¾ minutes done, just over 8 minutes to go plus a lap in this race. Kritzman much better lines out the back there, and the number 20 of Jordan losing a bit of time. He makes it up on the hard pack stuff when we come into the jumps here, but look at this, we're going to be coming into lappers very quickly this time around. Ton of riders having problems early on in the race. There's Parker Sick, he is absolutely ripping at the moment. It's going to be easy 10 seconds the lead when he comes in at the end of that loop. I mean, we were staring at the Venture Sport arch there for a long time, waiting for these guys. There's Kritzman, he seems to have reacted to the pressure coming in for Jordan. So that's second and third, and the gap between these two riders starting to grow. That's over a second to my eye. We'll just get that confirmed when they come down to the end of their second full racing lap. Trying to pick up on timing and scoring. I didn't see a pass happen out there on the lap, but it's showing me that Riley Kildenase, the rider that went down early on lap number 1, has moved himself up into second place. But I just want to let timing and scoring update itself. I don't think that's the case. I think Kildenase has probably put in a fast lap. That's why he's jumped up in timing and scoring. But on position, I think he is still out the back door a little bit. Yeah, there's confirmation of that. So timing and scoring doing all kinds of crazy things to me, but there's no change on track at the moment between 1, 2 and 3. Things are as they were. Sick stays out front, Kobe Kritzman in second and Jordan in third, with Greeny in fourth. Trying to go down the order here and see if there's been any reaction from Riley Kildenase, our early race leader. Sixth place is the best that he can do at the moment, as Kritzman and Jordan are getting close to each other once again at the end of the racing lap. Yeah, that's down to less than a second now as they head into the last quarter of the track. That little dead spot in the forest before they come up and over next to the TRP inflatable arch. And Kritzman once again just starts to extend a little bit towards the end of the racing lap over Jordan. Let's run through the numbers at the moment with just over 5.5 minutes plus a lap to go. Peter Sick with a monstrous 11.6 second lead over Kritzman, Jordan, Greeny, Fisher, Kildenase, Buertas, Barnes, Dean, Ritz, Nordia, Fisher, Rue, and Buertas. 14 of the future superstars rocking and rolling out there at Chestnut. This is the section of the track where Jordan finds a lot of time, closes things up. Watch for a change up here. This is a pass for the lead, but he follows suit. He gets sucked into the outside line. There was a chance to go for the inside rut there, but Kritzman just held his nerve and still holds the lead over Jordan. So this is, as it has been, the battle for second place remains as we are in 5 minutes countdown to go. Kobe Kritzman running good pace, but Riley Kildenase is on the comeback. We'll keep an eye on that. It's going to take him 1 or 2 laps to try and close things down. But Riley Kildenase, the rider, went down on lap number 1, riding the 33 machine as a big mistake comes in for Kritzman. But Jordan unable to be close enough to benefit, but he has pulled back a little bit of time. They're in the same berm together now, so maybe that's going to fire him up. What I was saying though was Riley Kildenase on the 33 machine has started to build pace. throws down the hottest lap and has now moved up into 4th place. So he's knocked Greeny, that's Alessandro Green, down into 5th for the first time in the race. Green was sitting 4th all the way up until this point. Very equally matched. Kretsman and Jourdan continue to run 2 and 3, but equally Parker Sick on the 333, our race leader, continues to extend out front on his Husqvarna. Now 12.7 seconds out front. So that's 1, 2, and 3 across the line. Just waiting to see Riley Keldernace appear on timing and scoring across the stripe. A long time has passed, so he's 26 seconds off the back wheel of the race leader. So yeah, he might be able to pull something back. The time difference between 4th place, which is Riley Keldernace, and Luan Jourdan, is just over 12 seconds. So he is finding time, around about 2.5 seconds a lap. So he might be able to do something, but I don't think he's got enough time on the lap count to be able to close in on our podium runners. So there's something happening here. There's something building here. Kretsman doesn't have all of the sections of the track taped. Oh, Kretsman has a big mistake there. Rails it on the outside, loses the front, loses the back, and Luan Jourdan closes him down. So that was pressure. That was pressure. Kretsman just cracking a little bit there, and that's a change up for 2nd place for the first time in around about 6 laps or so. So Luan Jourdan on the 20 machine moves up into the number 2 spot with a small mistake from Kretsman, but that's all it took. So for the first time, the 20 of Jourdan sees a bit of clear air. He's not going to be able to close things down on Parker Sick out front, but he should be able to manage the gap between himself and Kretsman. Nice to see a little bit of changing and some new looks and names and faces in the 2nd set of racing heats so far. We're closing in on the end of this one. Next up is going to be the big bangers. The first of our pro gates in the afternoon session, the MX2s. All right, so we're coming into that section once again where we saw Kretsman make that mistake. That was his undoing. Another big mistake there. So just starting to spin up. The track's getting looser. It's getting a little bit flustered. So another mistake for Kretsman. But he's still another mistake, and they keep coming thick and fast now. The kids are getting tired and the pressure is being applied. He needs to get told by his pit crew though that he's got some time in hand. Keldernace is still 9 seconds behind in 4th place. But if those kind of mistakes keep coming, then there's going to be a problem. So Sick leads out ahead of Jourdan. The gap now between 1st and 2nd, almost 15 seconds. The problem is, Kobe Kretsman in 3rd place on the 15 machine is having big problems. I didn't see who that was on the yellow down there. I hope it wasn't one of our leaders, but you could see the rider was up, but just had a problem on the machine. We'll wait for timing and scoring to tell us who is still out there rocking and rolling the numbers to see if that was Luan Jourdan with a mistake. So that's the 15. Just trying to pick up on if there's a rider in front of him. But remember, Luan Jourdan had pulled quite a big gap out of his sparring partner, but this may be a change in fortunes. I hope it wasn't Jourdan, but it may well have been, as you don't see a rider up the road here. So I think this is a change up once again for 2nd place. Timing and scoring is going to confirm this. And we haven't yet seen the lost lap forward. So there's 2 laps to go for our 50cc races. Timing and scoring, tell me what I need to know. Parker Sick is there. Kretsman is up to 2nd place. So the rider that went down on the yellows there, close to the end of that lap, we just saw the helmet behind the takeoff for one of the jumps, was Luan Jourdan. Not only has he lost 2nd place, but he's lost 3rd place as well, because Riley Keldernace was building pace, and that is Riley Keldernace as well. So that's the we're going to stay with this. This is a big fight here for second place. So the race leader, he's gone. 23.6 seconds out front, and this is 2 laps to go. But check out the pace coming in from Riley Keldernace. He's going to make this pass, and it's already happened. He closed things down so fast, it looked like Riley Keldernace came up and passed Kobe Kritzman like he was stood still. He didn't even know he was coming on. So the double 3 is now going to set sail. He's got a lap and a half to go. There's no way he's going to catch up to Parker Sick, but he is going to be able to dominate the number 2 spot, and that's going to help him out in the championship. What a comeback ride from Riley Keldernace. Shows as well, obviously he came into this round leading the championship, and this ride, excuse me, is going to confirm him as champion as well. So the kid's on an absolute burner. Hopefully Kretzmann can do a little bit of learning, trying to hang on to his back wheel for a lap and a half at least. They're closing in on the end of their penultimate lap. The race leader has already started his final lap as this battle for second and third place continues, now with slightly different names. Riley Keldernace now moving up into the number 2 spot on the double 3 machine, and Kobe Kretzmann into third place on the 15. What a comeback ride from Keldernace. Our top 5 riders and our top 6 riders onto their final lap of the race as we close in on the end of our juniors and start getting ready for the pros. MX2 Pro riders are on the gate already, locked and loaded and lined up, good to go. Good work for the LiveX camera crew out there following all the racing action. Certainly some bar banging and drama coming in on the second set of racing heats out here at Chestnut, our final destination on the MSA MX Tour in 2023. We're halfway through our second set of racing heats. When we're done with the 50s, there are 4 racing heats to go, and we wrap up shop and draw a line under motocross in 2023. Good shot here of the final turn, showing us how gnarly these ruts are and the different line choices that are coming into play. Here's our race leader then. We're going to take him all the way to the flag as he picks his way through the maze that is the final turn. Parker Sick on the 333 machine on the Husqvarna. Job done, and takes his final checkers of the season. The comeback kid just shows how fast he is, hammering another lap record, putting his fastest lap time down on paper. He's going to get a number 2 spot. It's the double 3 of Riley Keldernace. The comeback kid gets the job done. An incredible ride for him, and that cements him as the number 1 plate in the championship as well. Commiserations for Kobe Kretzmann down there in a number 3 spot, but it looks like Alessandro Greeny got it done in 4th place. Good job for our junior 65 and 50cc racers on the gate. I can only hear the revs go up. It's MX2 racing time coming up next. All right, standing by on the MX2 This is going to be an absolute war going on out there. These guys are going to be ripping the bars off. Cam Darrow wrapped up the championship. Remember, it was Stav Orland who got the big job done. Closed things down, made the pass, and ran out front to record his first big national win of the season. So let's see what Stav has got for us this time around. Darrow is too strong off the gate, but Stav is right there. Third place for him this time around. That looks like Detoy might have got the big hole shot this time around. We'll just get a confirmation of who came banging out straight, but it definitely wasn't Darrow, and it definitely wasn't Stav Orland. Jonathan Malimi. So Jonathan Malimi absolutely pins it, gets his very rare hole shot going. So watch out to see what he can do. Remember, he is running off the factory KTM squad. He's going to charge out there. Actually, he's sitting down there in a number 2 spot. So Darrow looks like he made the pass and did get the hole shot. So my apologies, it was Darrow that got the hole shot. It's Malimi in the number 2 spot. He's blocking Stav Orland at the moment. So this is going to be a problem for Orland. He needs to get around Malimi pretty quickly as well. We saw in heat number 1 that he was able to pull up to the bumper baby, make the pass and run. But Malimi is going to be a spoiler in this one. Then Grundy just behind. Detoy, Proctor, Williams, Tristan Darrow, Mayer, Hanley, Broski, Cocker with a nightmare of a start. Down in 12th. And a no-show for Dalton Penta. So Orland's made the pass on Malimi. And he hasn't lost the back wheel of Darrow. So remember, this is for the overall on the day in MX2. If it finishes as it stands at the moment, Darrow will take the day in MX2. Orland needs to make the pass to go 1 for 1 and take the overall in the MX2s. Malimi, 3rd place, but not able to run with the pace of the top 2 at the moment. And coming under increasing pressure from Grundy. Freight train of 4 KTMs running 1, 2, 3, and 4. So Orland matching Darrow, much faster on the entry there, so pulled back some time in that turn. Malimi goes mid-entry. Grundy, that's going to be bar banging. Watch out for that battle for 3rd place. 2 riders in the air together over the finish line, double tabletops. So Orland now moving up into the number 2 spot, trying to get up onto the back wheel of Darrow. You can see that in the background there, Malimi has been sent back 1 more position. So Grundy moves through into the number 3 spot. So Malimi, great hole shot, but can't hold the race pace at the moment. He's going to be lucky to hang on to a top 5, the way that he's sliding backwards. Going forwards though, Orland throws in the fastest lap of the race. Don't know if that was the line that he wanted. Looked like he wanted to go a little bit tighter on the inside to close things down on Darrow. We'll keep an eye on timing and scoring. Last time around it was 1.2. I think Orland has brought back maybe a 10th. Yeah, I think that's going to be sitting under a sec. Oh, Orland almost lost it. That bowl turn braking zone is getting all kinds of whooped out and chopped up. Orland nearly threw the entire thing into the scenery there. He's pulled it back though. It's going to be just over, no, by my eye, it's going to be just under a second now, the gap between 1st and 2nd place. Orland taking some risks though. He's definitely riding over the limit to get up onto the back wheel of Darrow. You can see he is really late on the brakes. He's got a good marker, you see. So as soon as the rider out front starts braking, you just count maybe half a second and you pull back that time. Easy, easy, easy. They're coming out of the ball turn. It's going to be a right. They're both going to over jump flat. Here we go. 1.2 was the gap. It's going to be around about 0.7, maybe 0.8. Oh no, Orland completely hashed the entry to that turn, so it's going to remain over a second. It's going to be a race of mistakes. That's going to be the difference between 1st and 2nd place. Yeah, that confirms it. Orland had got it down to under a second, and then in that one corner, it grew up to 1.7. Orland's making mistakes here. Darrow is starting to hold an advantage. He's now got over 2 seconds ahead of heat number 1 winner, Orland. Malimi's rebounded though. Himself and Proctor have now moved their way up into 3rd and 4th place, with Cocker absolutely charging through the field, getting himself up into 5th place. Grundy, the big loser on that previous lap, dropping down from 3rd into 6th place. Woo! Something about the afternoon session. It's all come to life. I love it. Stav Orland. So many people cheering for this kid. The morning session giving him his first national heat win of the season. He's been pushing so hard for that, and I think now he knows that he can do it. But to try and pull back time, get onto the back wheel of Duro and make the pass, that's going to be very difficult now. Duro had to take the back seat in heat number 1, and now Stav Orland may have pushed a little bit too hard too early, and that's where those mistakes were coming in. He's lost the back wheel. It's going to be over 2 seconds this time, and I think that may be the bungee snapped, as they say. So sometimes as a commentator, I just want to sit back and enjoy these races. This one is definitely going to heat up. It's going to froth on these last couple of laps. He's catching him though. You can see the dust in the ruts as Orland arrives at the turns. Yeah, it's probably just over 2 seconds at the moment. Come on, timing. Tell me what I need to know. 2.2. Yeah, 1.5, 2.2. I think Stav might be pushing a little bit too hard. He's lost his smooth, lost the groove, and we're going to see that time start to grow. If it gets over 2.5, it's over. There's no way you can run up 2.5 seconds faster than the rider out front, especially a multi-champion like Cam Duro. Cool to see Malimi holding on to that 3rd place. We'll try and pick up on the story there if we can cover some of the other shots. The 74 coming through there, that's a little bit further down. That's Cole Mayer. He's sitting in 11th place. He's got Garrick Hanley and Broski. Those guys are kind of all over each other at the moment. Kind of a war down there between the Yamaha boys to see who can be the top Yami. Hanley doing a nice job of things on the 28 at the moment. Broski up the road on the Husky on a number 10. There's Mayer. So Mayer runs a... So Mayer sitting down there in a number 12, trying to get on point. The little breeze that I keep talking about, I know I become a weatherman in the afternoon sessions, but the little breeze is starting to pick up a little bit more. It's blowing the wind straight across the track, which is nice. Keeps the dust out of the vision of the riders, doesn't really cause too many problems. Duro has responded as we just continue watching the top Yamaha rider. Garrick Henley on the 28. Sinsalo out of Africa racing Yamaha Factory 250. He is battling just outside of the top 10, 11th place for him. Tough run of the season for Hanley at the moment. Still trying to come to terms with how to get the best out of a 250F. Super strong on the 85s and the 125s as he came through the junior ranks, but battling at the moment in his first full season on the 250s. It's a tough journey as motocross, but the cool thing is, it does get better. He'll work on his setup, work on his training program, work on his conditioning, and he'll be challenging for top 5s all next season for sure. Seems like Cam Duro and Stav Orland have been swapping fastest lap times at the moment. Orland pulling it back. It's going to be less than a second at the end of this lap, so we'll enjoy the Haney show at the moment, but we'll go out there and pick up on our race leaders because that is starting to develop very nicely. Thank you very much. 2 fastest laps in a row coming from Stav Orland. So he is right back in this on the back wheel of Duro. So Henley down there battling in 11th place, trying to break his way inside of the top 10. We'll have a quick glance around the track and try and pick up on our race leaders, see where they are, because they are banging bars right now. I just glanced up out of the studio and I can see they found each other on the track, so it's going to be busy from here on out. The number 1 of Cam Duro and the 2.65 of Stav Orland. There's Broski. That's the number 10 rider at the moment. He's got 10th place wrapped up. There's Cam Duro. He's heading to the finish line right now. But it looks like we may have lost Stav. Pretty sure I just saw Duro come across our booth here with no one on his wheel. We'll wait for a confirmation on timing and scoring. Well, there it is. So unfortunately, as we're watching the shots of Henley at the finish line, there's Cam Duro and Stav Orland. There's Duro. Well done for the crew picking up on Duro. He got closed down to within a second. Stav Orland was right there with him, and then Orland went down. He had a mistake. It's definitely a crash. He's picked himself up. He's still in second place, but he's lost the back wheel. 20 seconds is the race lead that Duro has, as we are now in the second half of the racing heat. So that's it. Stav did what he could in the first 10 minutes of the race. He got right up on the wheel of Duro. They found each other. Stav went down. Duro runs off into the sunset. 20 seconds. Thank you. Good night. God bless. He is gone. No one's finding this guy. Even if he does have a fall over, he's got time to stand up, change a tire, and keep on running out front. Commiserations to Stav Orland. That's going to change things up for the battle for third place though, because Jonathan Malimi, my apologies, is only 3.5 seconds off Stav Orland. So if anything's wrong or twisted up or kind of bent out of shape on Stav Orland's bike, then you're going to see Malimi be able to benefit from that. He did a good job to rebound from his early race problems, get himself back into third place. Proctor on the Honda, also 3 seconds off his back wheel. So that second, third, fourth, and fifth place battle, because Dave Cocker has joined that party as well. That second, third, fourth, and fifth place battle is going to be heating up very shortly. But that's 20 seconds behind this dude. You can just watch this kid ride all day. He's got it dialed in. Not quite sure what the issue was on heat number 1. We'll ask him after the races wrap up today. We'll go down and do a quick pit walk and get some reactions from the riders as they wrap up on the day and their season. Duro in heat number 1 of the MX2s just didn't look like himself, but now he seems to have come right back to life. If we scan back on the cameras around about 20 seconds, we'll pick up on the second, third, fourth, and fifth place battle, and that's going to be a story to watch, because Duro is just going to be off the front. So Stav Orland on the 265, Jonathan Malimi on the 259, the 81 Honda of Proctor and Cocker. Cocker's now coming through. Cocker moves through on this lap up into fourth place. So we'll let our leader ride off into the distance. We'll pick him up when it gets close to the flag, but we'll pan back and pick up on the big dice that is happening around about 20 seconds off his back wheel. Once again, LiveX bringing us all of the live shots here for the first time. We're going live at Motocross, courtesy of LiveX. I'm Matt Hollywood Smith, bringing you all the noise, and thanks to our sponsors on the tour, bringing all of this MSA MX racing action to you, courtesy of TLP Distributors, Venture Sports, Bar Aviation, Prepsol, Red Bull SA, Missing Second, WIM, and Bandit Graphics, as we enjoy the Cam Duro Show. Funny enough, Duro has not been able to beat those incredible lap times that came in from Stav Orland. But the mistake came about 3 laps ago, and that is that. 22 seconds was the gap last time out. We're expecting it to be even bigger as Duro has lit the afterburners and just setting perfect laps down. He's in the groove. Oh, just trying to pick up on that second, third, fourth place battle as that's starting to come to life out there on the track. We've given Cam Duro plenty of airtime as he's enjoying the show out there. Check it out though. Well done for the director and the cameraman for finding these guys out there. This is going to be a story. That was picking up on... Okay, we were with them and then we lost them. We're back with Duro, but it was Stav Orland in second. He's pretty lonely. This is the battle to watch out for. Malimi and Cocker all over each other. This is for third place. A brilliant ride coming in from Malimi, but he's under continuous pressure from Cocker. Cocker gated outside of the top 10 and he's charged his way through the field. So Malimi hanging on to a number 3 spot by his very fingertips on the factory KTM as the factory Husqvarna closes him down, starts to pull all kinds of shapes. Line choice is what Cocker is all about. Malimi, very aggressive, like the way he's able to place the bike absolutely anywhere on the track. But this is not just a 2-horse race. There are 4 riders joined by less than 2 seconds. Malimi in 3rd place, Cocker in 4th, Jaden Proctor on the Honda in 5th, and Luke Grundy in 6th. So this is one that we are going to be watching for a long time. Now Malimi in good shape there. Looks like Cocker had an issue, and that's allowed Proctor on the Honda to come through. Not only that, that's bringing Barent. Barent is coming into this one as well. So Barent Toy joining the party. A mistake for Cocker there has taken a lot of pressure off the back wheel of Malimi. This is a good section for Cocker though. He makes up a ton of time. So in losing that position to Proctor, he's now coming under instant pressure from Grundy. So Cocker kind of needs to just regroup here at the moment. He's got the pace to go after a 3rd place. He's got to get around the Honda quickly and cleanly though, because now Malimi has got a bit of a gap over him. So the Honda rider and the Husqvarna rider can't get into each other too much, or they're going to both lose the back wheel of Malimi. There's the pass inside. Cocker trying to find a little bit of grip off the inside. Couldn't make it count, so Proctor lives on to tell the tale. So Malimi continues to live on and defend that 3rd place as Proctor and the Honda come up into 4th place, knocking Cocker down into 5th, then Grundy and Detoy. This is a great freight train here. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th. 2.5 seconds separating them. It's good to see Proctor come to life on this one as well. Really wasn't in the zone, went down hard on lap number 1 or 2, on heat number 1 on the Honda. Never kind of came back into the action after that. Left it up to the rest of the riders to get the job done. This time around, seems to be a different rider. I don't know if Cocker has kind of lost the wind from his sails here, but Cocker's sliding backwards. Grundy is about to make the pass on the Husqvarna man. Good action, and we'll stay with this a little bit longer. With just over a minute remaining, plus a lap. There's Malimi, he's 3rd. There's Proctor on the Honda, he's 4th. Cocker trying to some lines up the inside, getting creative. That's a pass. Oh, almost a pass. That's going to really start to light up now. Watch out, because we're coming into the zone where Cocker is super fast. He's going to move to the inside here and just hold it wide open. Flat corners is what Cocker is best at, and he gets the job done up the inside. So that's going to be him fired up once again. Forces Proctor and the Honda a little bit wider than he wanted to. So that's a change up in 4th place. Cocker back on the money, and he has made a couple of those inside lines really work for him. But how much time has he lost to Malimi? Malimi might just have enough time in hand here as we're closing in on the end of this one. Our race leader not too far from the end of the lap, trying to pick up on where he is, but we are close to the end of this one. I think it's about 2 laps to go. Yeah, it should be 2 laps to go. So our race leader should be seeing the final lap board pretty soon. That's been the Cam Duro show once again. Yeah, that's going to be perfect. So Cam Duro is heading towards the finish line now, and that's going to be a 1 lap board coming out for our race leader on the number 1 machine. Cocker up into 4th place, but I think he's kind of run out of time and run out of gas as well. His body position tells me he's feeling a little bit tired. So we'll stick with Cocker as he's about to see the last lap board as well. Comes out of this little dead zone. And it looks like Proctor might be in trouble there as well, as Grundy has closed him down. So there's Cocker, he's happy. Malimi, 3rd place. There's Cocker, he's going to do his line up the inside. He does find quite a bit of time there, but it takes a lot of effort and energy to stay there. There's confirmation of the statement I made just now. Proctor and the Honda going backwards, Grundy coming through. So all of our top 6 now on their final lap. Cam Darrow, 25 seconds out the front door. Then Orland, Malimi, comfortable in his 3rd place, but he can't make any mistakes. Otherwise, Cocker's going to be right there. So we'll stay with Malimi, as he's done a great ride to finish up there in the number 3 spot. Race leader in the tech zone, right in the middle of the lap. Working the ruts, enjoying. I think he likes it when the track gets a little bit more beat up and rough, and you've got to really think about your lines. So Cam Darrow, no issues for him. Literally, Heat 1 today on the 250 MX2s is the only beating he has taken. Stav Orland did his absolute best to try and repeat the effort in the afternoon, but Cam wasn't letting it go this time. Into the lappers, putting a couple of the Yamaha boys down a lap. That won't taste very nice, but he has been a standout rider, head and shoulders ahead of the rest of the field all season long. He's back where he is usually placed, and that's at the top of the pile. Cam Darrow on the MX2s takes the final checkers of the season to underline why he is the champion. And then he's got around about, I don't know, 45 minutes, and then he's back onto the MX1 gate. 2nd place is going to be Stav Orland as we bring him home. 25 seconds after the race winner. Stav did what he could. 2nd place was his best, and that also gives him a number 2 spot in the championship confirmation. Here's Stav coming through the lost burn. 2nd place for him. You can see the big sleeve up on the right arm, telling us that he did go down the road in big style. Big heel clicker to take us to the finish. And then Malimi, Cocker, Grundy and Proctor with the toy, a solid 7th place. That was the final heat of the MX2s as we move forward now into the MX85s once again. Great racing from our MX2 riders. Rapid fire straight back out onto the gate for our 85cc's. Yeah, we're not hanging around in the afternoon session. It is wild out there. Serious racing all the way around all the gates. The second set of heats out here at Chestnut has given us epic racing and lots of stories to talk about. Here we go once again with the Wild Bunch 85cc races. Kids on the line, Anderson, Barrington Smith so strong. Alrighty, going down super early. The good thing about going down early is, though, well, there isn't much good about going down early, but at least you can kind of stay with the pack and get up. The problem is, normally by the time you get up, the entire field is gone. And Smith gets the cheese, gets the whole shot. Tilly is up there, but remember, the championship is on the line. That's the big story of second heat of our 85cc races. Tilly has to get the job done. It's going to be very interesting. He's basically going to run inside of the top three in the afternoon session to make things count. So he's maybe not going to get involved in too many of the battles out there. Barrington Smith, though, he's going to be a big climber in the championship. Came into this round in a number 7 position, had a pretty good run of things in heat number 1. You can see a lot of mistakes coming in. You'll see a lot of mistakes on the 85s on lap 1 and lap 2, as they're still trying to figure out where the traction is, where the good lines are. A lot of riders were able to walk the track during the lunch break, but yeah, it's changed a lot since the morning session. So Barrington Smith on the 141 getting it done, came across the stripe with a 1.3 second hole shot. That's good money. And then Blade, Tilly, Frosty, Hanley, Valsecki, Buerta, Van Asvik, Carter, Graven and Anderson, the top runners inside of the top 10. But it's going to be a very tense 85cc race. Championship points and numbers on the page are going to be the top of everyone's mindset right now. You're going to see some big mistakes as riders start to crack under the pressure of the final national point scoring event and heat race of the season. Tilly was a standout rider for me in heat number 1. Really strong coming off of his 125 entry. On the gas, riding out of Powerline Construction, Total Control, Flock Moto and VLA Racing. VLA, big supporters of National Championship Cross Country as well as National Championship Motocross Racing. So cool to see them with big support on a couple of big stars. Check out the lines. This is the final turn, and it's seen a lot of racing action. The Prepsol turn has been the undoing of many of the riders. Prepsol turn and those flat turns out the back. As soon as you come out of this section, you land the 2 finish line tabletops. This is the high speed run, and then you've got to get all your braking right. There's about 5 different line choices coming into this turn. The inside rut is blowing apart, but there's so many choices here. It's very difficult to understand where you're going to go. Are you going to block the line on the inside, or are you going to try and rail and pray that there's enough traction for you to hook up on the way out? Barrington Smith on lap number 2 sets the fastest lap of the afternoon session. So he's trying to run. He's got a 2.6 second lead. Valsecki, Tilly, Hanley, Frost and Graven trying to hang on to the wheel. And that's going to be the battle that we'll keep an eye on. Hanley is an absolute ripper. Loves this style of riding. Loves it when it gets hard pack and rutted up. He's on the 51 Yami. And he is in an absolute war right now. Check these kids hooking it out there. Got to love the riding style. They are absolute burners on these 85s. It's not far up the road to get on the high school 125 gates, and every so often you'll see these 85s run a faster lap time than the top pros on the high school 125 gates. Insane numbers. So Barrington Smith, he's right up there. He's on the 141, but Valsecki is coming on and coming on strong this time around. It's Husqvarna versus KTM. And first and second place, we're going to stay with this battle because it's going to heat up. Check the lines, inside to outside. Barrington Smith, I think he got the sweet line there, but definitely if you can rail it on that outside and kind of jump into that next rut, Valsecki's got a chance of maybe making a pretty ugly pass, but a pass nonetheless. Remember, motocross can sometimes and often does become a contact sport. So riding out of Westside Motorcycles with a shopping list of sponsors, but Westside for sure production, LMS Electrical, Security Express, Domino Clips, Amalgam Welding Shop, Fox SA, JT Sprocket, Trofeo Brakes, Gap Industries, Mike's Bulletproof Vests, Hardy's Own, Dangerous Trees, 114 Mooses, Hooligan, Lube Boys, and Booksulkeling. There's the shopping list that is Barrington Smith. Kid that's getting it done out there. You've got to give all of the credits to the guys that are paying the bills, but the main credits go to the guy that is ripping the bars off his bike at the moment on the 141 Husqvarna machine. Hanley looks like he's made the move up into second place on lap timing at least. So the fastest kid on the gate in that second or third lap that we are racing on the 85s was Aidan Henley on the Yamaha. He's coming on fast. He took something like a second clean out of our race leader. So Henley is the kid on fire at the moment, riding out of Sinswalo, out of Africa, Yamaha. But Barrington Smith, he's got clear air and he's using it to his advantage. He's going to find lappers in around about 2 or 3 laps, and then the race is going to get slightly more interesting from his point of view. Check the riders behind him though, changing up the lines, insides and outsides. Line option has been the story of the afternoon session. Henley just coming to life in the second racing heat there, throwing down some serious rubber and some serious lap times. Close to the end of this lap, we'll wait for a confirmation on timing and scoring to see who is where and what, but it did look like on that previous lap Aidan Henley jumped up something like 4 positions, putting Tilly, Valsecchi, Frosty and Graven behind him. So there's Barrington Smith coming out of the forest. Venture Sports, inflatable arch onto the flatland section. Wheelies his way through that rut. That was risky. He made a mistake there. That was not pretty. Cased out on the step up and lost a bit of time. So Barrington Smith made a bit of a mistake there. And that's why we're seeing the 51 closing him down. So Hanley running kind of cleaner lines. And I think we're going to see that gap come down slowly but surely. 3.5 last time around. And that has to have been chunked in half. Yeah, well, by a second at least. 3.5 becomes 2.3. Finding a lot of time is the Yamaha kid, and once again posts the fastest lap of the race. So he's creeping up slowly. He's becoming a little bit of a shadow. Stealth Warrior, completely different lines to Barrington Smith. So it is going to be a totally different second half of this race. Aidan Henley is coming on, and he's going to be up onto the back wheel of the Husqvarna rider within around about a lap and a half, I would say, based on the speed. And look at the lines once again. Barrington Smith railing all the outside. Aidan is railing all the insides, and that gap is now under 1.5 seconds. There's going to be big hurry up signs coming on in the mechanic zone. Look at that, the Yamaha just under braking, just line choice, getting it done. So Christian Barrington Smith, one of the bigger kids on the 85s, versus Aidan Henley, one of the smaller kids on the 85s. And all of a sudden, they have found each other out there on the track, separated by less than half a second. This is on. This is on now. Let me just sit back and enjoy a couple of corners and catch my breath. So Barrington Smith throws down big lap times. His fastest lap time on that previous lap of a 2:09. But consistently now in the 2:08 is Henley. Henley throwing down one of the best rides of his season for sure. He came into this third on championship points, and he may be able to pull back some numbers on Tilly. Tilly's having a bit of a nightmare this time around. It's like a completely different setup of the riders running inside the top 3 between heats 1 and 2 today. Barrington Smith reacting that lap. Definitely found some time on the Yamaha rider, but once again, the different line choices will mean they'll find each other pretty soon once again. Tilly's in third place, so Tilly's doing a good enough job on the gas to keep his championship hopes alive. Cool to see the spread of manufacturers as well here at MSA MX. Husqvarna, Yamaha, Gas, then a KTM. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's good news for the championship battle as far as manufacturers go as well. Fourth place is Valsecchi and Frosty, and then around about 10 KTMs after them, with Graven, Van Aspik and Carter, Rocha, Anderson, Buerta and Ledabwa getting it done inside of the top 10. Lappers coming into play, so clever line choices and entry and exit into corners is key from here on out. I think Henley's just playing with him at the moment. Looks like he's got the pace to make the pass, but I think he's just allowing Barrington Smith to kind of like deal with opening up the door as they go through the lappers. But under corner entry, the Yamaha of Henley closes huge time and meters on the big kid on the Husqvarna, Barrington Smith. Timing section definitely in the hands of the Yamaha rider as well. Yeah, it's just a yo-yo effect. There's just some sections of the track that are playing into the hands of each of the riders. They've got their specialist zones. I think on the big jumps, Barrington Smith is the stronger rider, but in the braking zones, it looks like Aidan Henley on the Yami is able to close things down with the bike, maybe not pushing out so much on the front end as the big, taller, and obviously heavier rider that is Barrington Smith. Including this one, 3 more racing heats left on the day. We seem to have picked up pace the whole way through the afternoon session. Much faster racing, much more drama going down. Next up will be our ladies' gate, and then our final heat of the day will be the MX1 Pro Big Bangers on the 450s. Right now, don't take your eyes off the 85cc final heat of racing in the National Championship. Don't take your eyes off this for a second. Barrington Smith reacting nicely. Every time I think he's pulled some time, Aidan Henley pulls it straight back. The gap has remained at 1 or 1.5 seconds for the last 6 laps now. If Aidan Henley has got to move, he's got to think about doing it pretty soon. We're heading into 3 minutes plus a lap to go. But these two riders are gone. They've got 9 seconds over Blake Tilley. Tilley cannot hang. Oh, big mistake there for the Yamaha kid. Henley made a hash of that inside rut, couldn't get out of the turn quick enough, and he lost around about 0.3, 0.4 of a second to Barrington Smith, who charges his way into the middle part of the track. The big step up floats his way over the big tabletop, and then under braking in the chopped up sections, the Yamaha, the Tim Swallow out of Africa racing Yamaha of Aidan Henley closes him down. Then in the tech zone, inside line going into the tech. Now it is 0.3 of a second. Now it's on. Now a mistake comes from Barrington Smith trying to get on the gas on the inside rut. Gets the front wheel lofted, and now Henley is right there. Now it's time to strike. Now it's time to get the elbows out and force the issue. You know, I think Barrington Smith might just have this one. He's shown a couple of cracks over the last couple of laps. Small mistakes. Looks like he's getting tired in the big braking, whooped out zones. He might have to change up his lines if he wants to survive. This Barrington Smith continues closing in on the end of his lap. Oh, here we go. Inside, outside, switcheroo. The Yamaha kid trying to go inside. Here we go. Watch this line. Barrington Smith kind of messes up his line, but just survives. Aidan Henley goes for the inside, but didn't get the full inside. It was kind of 50-50 on that line. Couldn't get the hook that he wanted to. But watch in this braking zone. He's going to hold it wide open here, like we saw with Cocker. Wide open round the outside. Stays out of the braking bumps. He's going to rail the outside of this one. Oh, man, just couldn't find the rut he wanted to. Got forced out a little bit. But, yeah, under braking, Henley is insanely good on the front end of that Yamaha. I think that might have been his best chance. But there's still a couple of laps in hand. Barrington Smith, yeah, he lives on. Again, a problem getting out of the rut there. Just chopped up a little bit too much for Henley. He's having some problems. He's a smaller kid, and he just can't seem to get the power down coming out of those deep ruts. Barrington Smith is the king of the outside lines at the moment. Carries a ton of speed. This is the zone where he's at his weakest. He has to get on the pegs really high and really early. And under braking, that's where Henley and the Yamaha close him down. Outside rail turn, inside, almost in the air at the same time as they go at it in the rhythm timing section. Got to see inside lines coming from Henley here. Yeah, he's got it. Cannot get the drive though, but this is now on. This is going to go down to the wire. And next time they see the stripe, it is going to be 1 lap to go. This is the closest it's been. Man, I got sweaty palms here watching this 85cc second heat moto. Who's going to crack first? They both made small mistakes, but tiny little mistakes as they go scrubbing their way into the back of the track there. Who's going to come out first? Barrington Smith onto the flatland section. It's going to be one lap to go when they see the board. Watch for the inside line here. Yeah, Barrington Smith is learning. He covered the inside line that time. Covers the inside line this time. Slightly different lines, both really battling for traction. It's one to go for our top runners, Barrington Smith and Henley. We're going to stay with this one all the way to the line. Let's see what happens this time. Rail the outside, Barrington Smith a little bit faster. Coming, here comes the Yamaha coming on. Can he do the cutback? He's got to rail the outside hard and possibly do a cutback turn. Comes out just off the back wheel of Barrington Smith. Cannot get it done there. That was, for me, I think his best opportunity. He's pretty good into the timing rhythm section. We're heading close to that section now. These ruts, inside line, everything is inside. So the king of the outsides has become the king of the inside lines. Barrington Smith is all over this one right now. Outside there, he's been railing that. He goes mid to outside. He's good in this section. Carry speed here. Watch on the brakes. You should see the shark attack coming in. That's going to be Henley on the brakes. Starts to nose his way in there. Barrington Smith took a lot of risks there. He was a little bit loose on the entry, but he's got it. I think if he controls the exit of this turn coming out of the rhythm zone, he's got this one. Henley's not close enough. He had a mistake on the drive turn inside rut going into the timing section, and I think this is over, all bar the shouting and screaming. Barrington Smith, right about 0.6 of a second in the lead, and this is a strong section for Barrington Smith. He likes this zone. He's good in the inside turn here. Very fast in this little drop in, drop out, climb out section before you go into the Venture Sport inflatable. Check Henley there. He overjumped that on the way in. So he's trying some desperate moves because he knows he's running out of time. Little tire tap there as they get the power down. Barrington Smith, right about 15 seconds away from seeing the checkers. Wheelies his way in there. No issues. Covers the inside line. Haley's not close enough. He had his chances, but they were all covered and closed off. One more turn to go. Barrington Smith gets on the pipe, sees the checkers, job done. Final 85 win of the season. Henley pushed him as hard as you can, but Barrington Smith comes out on top, and he sets the fastest lap time on the last lap of the event. Henley in second place. Tilly will take a number 3 spot ahead of Vercelli, and then Graven, Van Asviken, Frosty, Carter, Rocha, and Berta will take us to a top 10. One of the riders just making a hash of it in the final turn, but what a race for Barrington Smith and Henley. I'm pumped. We've got 2 more races to go. Ladies coming up next. Oh, as the weather gets a little bit cloudy and overcast, and the temperature drops by about 3 degrees, we're on a promise of some late afternoon rains with 2 racing heats to go. A 15-minute plus 1 lapper for the second heat of our ladies that was absolutely dominated by 2 ladies, but 1 lady in particular, Leah Haygate, hammering the nail. Looks like she gets the cheese once again. Or not. No, maybe not a good pull off the line this time around. We'll see who pops out with it this time. Haygate looks like she might have gated in around about 3rd place. No, she's recovered. So it's normal service resumed. Leah Haygate with clear air, with Kayla Roth on her wheel. Roth's only choice is to go for some do or die moves. Getting up close and personal with Ivan, our cameraman down there at the finish line, taking some big risks for Livex on the outside of the turn. Roth hammers the nail between the finish line tabletop and the setup shot. But Haygate just too strong in the flatland section. Looks like Roth maybe missed her turning zone there on the Kawasaki. And that's that. Haygate is a nose in front, and she is going to run out. Must be very demotivating for Kayla Roth at the moment. The Kawasaki is good, the rider is good, but as soon as Leah Haygate gets out front, she sets sail. Track a different beast as well. Sure, as they went out into that flatland section that's seen a lot of passes happening in the afternoon session, they were kind of blurred vision almost as you head into multiple line choices. You kind of just have to pick one and deal with it, and whatever comes your way, you have to deal with it. Looks like Kayla Roth, when she went into that flatland section, got pushed wider than she was expecting, but it is going to be a 1 and 2 at the moment, as it was in heat number 1 for our top 2 ladies, Leah Haygate and Kayla Roth. And then DeLima, we're focusing on that dice for 2nd, 3rd and 4th place. Jadine DeLima on the 77, Jessica Osner on the 21, and Cheyenne DeLima on the 484. All over each other, first lap through the tech zone. So where the 85s and a lot of the other pro category riders were going to the inside, the ladies railing the outside. It actually gives them a much better, cleaner line going into the step up, step down, into the bowl turn. So I actually think the outside lines are looking a little bit more usable in the afternoon session than they normally do. Of course, if it rains, then they're going to get greasy. You see they've changed into that light color. They'll have a little bit of rubber down on them as well. We get very hard packed dirt up here in Gauteng and on Mpumalanga. And when it bakes like that, and then you put a little bit of water on it, it's grease lightning. There's going to be absolutely zero grip. So once again, it's going to be a development of the 3rd place diet with Jayden DeLima, Jessica Osner and Cheyenne DeLima. Then Ivana Fenter on the 32, Zoe Buerta on the 128, Dakota Krobler on the 42, and Elang Chabana rounding things out. But already Haygate throws in the hot lap and puts 4.8 seconds into the Kawasaki of Kayla Roth. 3rd place is where it's at right now, as Jayden DeLima, Ivana Fenter moves her way through into 3rd place to put the DeLima sisters back to a 4 and 5. So Ivana Fenter on the 32, climbing the ladder nicely. Nice riding for Fenter. She seems to have gelled well with the slightly more hard pack setup of the afternoon session. 77 of Jayden DeLima. And look at the rest of the girls going way outside all of the ruts to try and find the hookup. That was Cheyenne DeLima and Zoe Buerta all over it on the battle for 5th and 6th place. That's the 77 of Jayden DeLima. She would have been hopeful that she could stand on the podium today, just battling in the morning session to try and find her groove and set up on the machine. And then Zoe Buerta. It's great to see that the 3rd place bunch of riders actually quite evenly matched. Ivana Fenter, the DeLima sisters of Jayden and Cheyenne, and then Zoe Buerta. All pretty much separated by around about a 1.5 seconds. Kayla Roth starting to maybe switch up her lines. It's pretty much the only option she's got to try and close in on the dominance of Haygate. Remember, the ladies are going to be out there for a 15-minute plus a lap, and then we'll get ourselves ready for the showstopper, the heart stopper, that will be the last MX1 and last racing heat of the MSA MX National Championship in 2023. So the ladies race to go, and then the big banger 450s, and we might just with the rain arriving maybe not too long after that, but I think we're going to be dry for the next half hour at least. Man, the flags out there are starting to fly. It's been great to bring you all the action. The boys from LiveX have been doing a sterling job bringing you all of the racing throughout the day. We had a good setup going in the morning session, then heats 1 and heat 2. Heat 2 has definitely been better for us. There's been great racing action and more to talk about for me on the mic as well. It's been super fun to be part of the motocross family once again, and thanks once again for MSA MX for bringing us in. We're happy to bring you all the action courtesy of MSA MX and their sponsors TRP Distribution, Venture Sports, Bar Aviation, Prepsol, Red Bull SA, Missing Second, WIM and Bandit Graphics. It's been a fantastic way to wrap up what has been a challenging but very fruitful 2023 Motorsport Racing Championship season. For us, we're going to be out there for the rest of the tours. We've got the final round of the GXCCs coming up at the end of the month on the 25th. We've got the final round of the Farm Jam Hare Scramble Championship coming up next week up in Middelburg. I'm going to be up at the roof of Africa with the guys up in the mountains playing with the wet stuff. It's going to be cold and wet up there this year for sure, but it's cool to be part of the roof journey. And then our final race of the season is going to be Forge Racing, just down the road here in Bronkhorstspruit for a cross-country championship at club level, and that's going to be on the 9th of December. That's going to be the final mic drop for us. We're obviously going to be doing a lot of post-production elements for all of those tours, and then we'll be signing off with Hollywood Hills towards the 20th of December marker. For now, just cool to be part of motocross once again, and hopefully it's something that we can continue doing as we go forward and eye up the horizon that is motorsport racing in 2024. Once again, if you guys want to follow us, you can follow Hollywood Hills. We've got a YouTube channel running there. LiveX are also out there at a lot of the live events for motocross short circuit racing and bowls. And of course, if you want to follow all the live timing that you are watching the racing happening at the moment, that is Pro Timing, and they have got live timing going up onto the cloud, and you can watch the racing and understand all the numbers that I've been talking about throughout the day of racing. I've been Matt Hollywood Hills, bringing you all the racing action, and we've got a heat and a half to go until we sign off. I think it's been great prep work coming in from the track crew out here at Chestnut. They must have been biting their fingernails earlier this week where we had 2.5 days of non-stop rain. Kind of swamped out the track. It looked a little bit overwatered in the morning session because of the rains. And then in the afternoon it's kind of found its groove, should I say. MX1 in the morning session probably gave us the best conditions of the day. It's maybe a little bit too hard pack and baked for the afternoon, but I think the extra moisture in the air as well has kept the dust down. So no one's been dust bowl racing. Just the morning session, particularly the practice for some of our junior category races was a bit challenging. Saw a couple of riders coming in with completely clogged up tires, but as soon as we went into the racing formats, things got a little bit better, and it's been a good day out at the track, as they say. Hope all you people out there in, I almost said television land, but I suppose it's online land now, I've enjoyed the show that we've been bringing to you and enjoyed all the racing action. Feel free to leave any comments for us, good, bad or ugly, but good would be better, as we enjoy the Leah Haygate show as she rocks the track out there. Let's talk about some of Leah's numbers. She's been smashing lap times. Her best lap time at 2:11.5. Since then she's slotted back into the 2:12s. She hasn't dominated like she did in heat number 1. It's kind of like leveled out at around about maybe a second, maybe second 0.2, second 0.3 faster than the lady on track and on screen at the moment. That's Kayla Roth, our multiple ladies MX champion. Just going to walk away with another #1 plate this season, but I think she knows in the second half of the tour that she was bested by Haygate. Sounds like Leah might be on the gate with us once again. Kayla Roth will definitely be on the gate once again next year, but sounds like she's going to be on a different racing package. So I think her journey with Kate Kawasaki is coming to an end. So it's going to be interesting to see what she lines up on for the 2024 championship. She's been running a best lap time of a 2:13.9, but it's now edged over 10 seconds, the gap between the KTM of Leah Haygate and the Kawasaki of Kayla Roth. The rest of the ladies doing a good job. Ivana Fenta has been able to cement her position for a 3rd place, and that should give her a 3rd place on the day, ahead of Jada De Lima. Zoe Puerta has got around the other De Lima sister, that's Cheyenne. So Puerta is going to climb up the road into a #5, with Jessica Osner, Dakota Frobler, and Elang Chabana taking us all the way to the end of the queue. 9 riders on the gate today. Following Cheyenne De Lima on the 484, as she gets on the pipe to try and sky the 2 finish line tabletops. That's Elang Chabana just going a lap down. So all of the riders now putting Chabana a lap down. Chabana has been running best lap time of a 2:15.080, and she's currently sitting in 9th place on timing and scoring. For now, we are inside of the final 4 minutes plus a lap. Check out the creative lines for De Lima and De Lima as the 2 sisters follow each other way outside of all the big ruts, trying to stay out of the big chops. The reason the riders will stay out of the lines and the big ruts that are formed is because there are ruts and whoops within those ruts, and you do kind of really have to hang on to the bike, and it creates a lot of arm pump and fatigue. So that's why you see riders going for what we like to call creative lines towards the end of a day. So with around about 3.5 minutes to go, we'll allow the ladies a little bit of time out there. I'll catch my breath a little bit as we close in on the final stages, and then get ready for the last big show. MX1 Pro Big Banger 450s on the gates and locked and loaded. For now, it's the ladies show, getting it done. Just under 2 minutes and a lap to go for our ladies, as Haygate continues to dominate out there on the track. I think conditions have increased to the point where the ladies can run faster lap times in the afternoon, so that's been good to see from self-development growth of the sport, and things run a little bit smoother. You'll watch the ladies working the outside lines. Those inside lines are going to be interesting in this final heat for the MX1 450s. They're going to have to, like we saw with the MX2s and the 85cc's, which has created some of our best racing on the day. They're going to have to explore line choices and options to be able to make passes. There's no way you can follow riders and make a pass, and that's been proven by 1 or 2 of the early gates in the afternoon session. There's Haygate then. It's going to be 2 laps to go for her. The last lap board won't come out, so this is going to be Leah Haygate starting her penultimate lap of the race. All right, so this is Haygate. One more turn and one more lap to go. As Chestnut is definitely a Haygate track. 21.9 seconds the gap last time around to Roth, who has to be a little bit demotivated at the moment, dominating the first half of the 2023 Championship Tour. And then once Haygate found her groove, there was no stopping the KTM lady. They've lapped now all the way up into third place. So Ivana Fenter has also tasted the back wheel of the top two ladies, as they are now on lap 8 with the rest of the ladies one lap down out there on the course. Haygate can afford to roll off, as she started the last lap with a 29-second lead, so almost 30 seconds it'll be the gap. She'll probably roll off, so I don't think she'll see 30 as the big gap. She'll just be happy to see the checkers and draw a line under her racing season. She may be showing up to the last round of the GXCCs, and no doubt will be one of the players to go up there and race the Zimbabwe or the Zim Summer Series in the early part of December, before we all officially roll off for the Christmas break. But right now, it's been the perfect day for Leah Haygate, the queen of practice and unofficial qualifying. She had the fastest times this morning in the mud. And then on the heats, 2 hole shots, and it's going to be 2 checkered flags. Spare a thought for Kayla Roth, best of the rest in the number 2 spots, and I mean no disrespect by that at all. She's going to walk away with another title because she put in all the hard work in the early part of the season. But today, 2 second places will give her a number 2 on the day. Great riding from Ivana Fenter to get her into a number 3 spot, beating out on the DeLima sisters. Jessica Osner and Zoe Porter also showing improvements, and a bit of a battle forming late on in the race between Fenter, Cheyenne DeLima, Jessica Osner, Jaden DeLima and Zoe Porter. They've been kind of swapping positions outside of the top 3. Looks like Fenter has got the number 3 spot dialed in, but this is Haygate taking it to the checkers one more time. The flag and another win, and the ladies title on the day. Second place in the championship to Kayla Roth. Roth is going to go 2 for 2 on the day and walk away with second place. But the ladies giving us some great racing, and cool to see everyone rocking up there and getting the job done all the way through the day. Haygate, Roth, Fenter, DeLima, Osner, DeLima, Buerta, Krobler and Chabana will be our ladies. Congratulations to Haygate for dominating out here at Chestnut. A quick catch of breath, and we line up for the final time of asking. The last gate is on the line, and that's MX1 Pros. Looking like a fast turnaround. Oh, this is a replay. The lads caught me out there. The Ladies Gate giving us a replay of the final hole shots of the Ladies Gate. We got some cool highlights for the ladies before we turn our attention to the men's Pro MX ones. This was lap 1 for our ladies, where Rolf had Haygate in her sights. All right, pretty thin on the line as we go into our final heat of the day. The second heat and the final time of asking in MSA MX for the 2023 championship. Heat 2 of the MX1 Pros. Malimi on the inside here, got a good jump there. We'll have to see. It's going to be the whole shot king that's Duro. I think it is. We saw a 51 on the back of the shirt there, disappearing off into the distance. We should see, yeah. There's the rope, so he launches it out. Sav in the number 2 spot and Jesse Wright in 3rd place. So the big swing is running 1, 2, and 3 early as you would expect. Oh, sorry, that's Cocker. Cocker in the number 2 spot. So Cocker has got a great pull off the line on the factory Husqvarna 450. So interesting what he can do, this kid. He really is pretty tasty. So it's Duro, Cocker, Malimi. Look how much time Cocker is able to take on the high speed flat turns and good on the brakes there as well. He actually pulls up a lot of time on Cam Duro, so that's going to keep him away from Malimi in the early part of the running at least. So Cam Duro on the factory Red Bull KTM, and then the SA Husqvarna of Cocker. Just had to bow his head there a little minute there, taking a bit of roost off the back wheel of the 58/number 1 plate. Cocker, another cheeky look over his shoulder just to see who's where and who it is. Inside line coming through the forest there, trying to make sure that he covers the attack coming in from Malimi. Dean Wheeler at the back of the pack there, just trying to figure out where he needs to fit in. Remember, so good on the support class in his comeback right, but also this is where he wants to be. He feels like he should still be able to run with the pros. Cocker in 2nd place and doing a good job of cementing that 2nd place. I think Malimi is going to find his groove pretty quickly. That's Josh Malimi running on the factory Husqvarna 450. But Duro looks like he is getting the hurry up big time now. Cocker good enough to run in the number 2 spot, but it looks like Malimi might have figured out the setup on his machine. It's going to be fun to see what Jesse Wright can do. Wright getting involved here nice and early. My apologies, I actually was calling him Malimi, but it is the Tin Swallow out of Africa Yamaha rider who's now made a gutsy move there on Cocker. He's not shy to get up the inside and force the issue if he needs to. Jesse Wright in the red boots, moving his way up on the Yamaha factory 450 up into a number 2 spot. Maybe took a little bit too long to make that pass on Cocker though. His pace shows you that he's feeling tasty, so may be able to ride up and get onto the back wheel of Duro, but couldn't really get the drive out of the corner. Inside didn't work for him, and Cocker's going to be able to cut him back and squeeze him out to the outside. So, yeah, maybe a little bit too keen to get up the inside of Cocker, and he kind of wrong place on the track as well. It's a part of the track where you can cover off the pass. In other words, if you get past on the inside going in, you can cover off the pass on the inside going out as well. So yeah, you're able to fight back, and that's exactly what happened with Cocker and Jesse Wright. They've obviously lost a little bit of time, not brake checking each other, but covering lines rather than powering forwards, looking backwards, and that's why we see Cam Deroe starting to extend off the front. I think this fight will probably develop throughout the 20 minutes plus a lap that we've got on the cards. Deroe out front and gone, but then it's going to be a story of Cocker, how long he can survive, because there's definitely sections of the track where Jesse Wright is better. Look at that inside line, switching up the lines, inside, outside. Yeah, sending each other to the outside every single time. They're not going to be pretty passes from here on out. I think the first two passes weren't that pretty. That one certainly wasn't pretty, and I think the next ones are going to be, well, let's use the right word. It's going to be ugly. That's also going to allow Josh Malimi, Jaden Proctor, and Ryan Adler to move on up and get into the party as well. Through that last section of the track there, Wright's able to make the pass and make it stick. So I think he should be able to run now. The beginning of the lap though is where Cocker is insanely fast. Gets a good drive onto the tabletops. Can't really make up too much time on the tabletops, but he's got a good scrub on him, so he tends to stay quite low. Jesse's good enough on this kind of section, but really Cocker is the king of these flatland sections. Really can hold it much longer and much wider than the rest of the riders, and he's very good at the flat corners. So you're going to see him rail outside and maybe be able to pull up to the back end of the Yamaha of Jesse Wright on the Tin Swallow out of Africa Yamaha once again. But Jesse was far enough ahead this time around to be able to cover off all fight backs. So yeah, Wright has officially got himself into that number 2 spot, and now he has to try and either cement the number 2 spot or chase down the back wheel of Deroe. Deroe looks like he's in cruise control already, 2.5 seconds out front, so it's very much up to Jesse Wright to try and close things down and make this a bit of a fight. Otherwise it is going to be probably each of the riders separated by about a second. Cocker looks like he's settled into his number 3 spot now. No fight back from Malimi this time around, so he hasn't found the back wheel of his teammate, but Malimi tends to come on strong towards the end of these races, allows other riders to make the mistakes. Watch out for Jaden Proctor on the lone Honda to see what he can do out there. But Wright seems look like a bit of a stronger rider in the afternoon here. I think he's turning some good laps there. The last lap just a smidge, 0.02 of a second faster than Deroe, so we may see the old Jesse Wright as we know and love come back into full flight once again and make this a bit of a fight. It's definitely coming down. 2.5, no way, that's 2.5, that's maybe 1, maybe 1.5. Deroe probably got the hurry up that time around. Before you come into that step up, step down, that's where the mechanic zone is. So there's a couple of fights that are about to develop here. Jesse Wright is moving up within sight of the race leader Cam Deroe, and at the same time Malimi is joining the party with Cocker, that's sitting in 3rd place. I'm amazed to see Jesse Wright pull back this much time so quickly. It's only taken him maybe 3/4 of a lap to get right back into the mix. And you can see the line choices that Jesse Wright is using as well. He's able to go after a lot of inside lines. Maybe not the prettiest lines out there, but yeah, he's going to shove one up the inside for sure. Hard on the gas there. Some of those deep ruts out the back are getting absolutely gnarly. Here's a move up the inside. That's a move for the lead. That's a pass for the lead. Not quite. That was definitely on though. It was definitely on. Check out Jesse Wright scrubbing the Tin Swallow out of Africa Yamaha as hard and as low as you can. That's the McGrath style of riding. You've got to stay low. You've got to get your wheels on the ground as quick as possible. And then straight after that, going into the tech zone, Jesse Wright makes an absolute hash of the bowl turn. Picked the wrong rut, couldn't get the hookup going. And another mistake there. Climbed out of the rut too early, spun up. And he's lost all of that drive, all of that momentum. He was within not even like half a second of our race leader, and now Jesse Wright's got to go to do it all over again, sitting off the back wheel to the tune of around about 1.5 seconds. He showed that he can do it. His lap time showed that he's the fastest rider out there, certainly on the previous lap, but now this is not going to be a great lap for Wright. He's probably lost 1.5 seconds on that lap, and the mistakes are coming thick and fast. He's just a little bit too eager to get on the gas coming out of the low turns. He's finding the limits of traction on the Yami 450, And Darrow is a rider that doesn't make that many mistakes. Outside line, blowing up the berm was Darrow. Actually saw the outside berm in front of one of our camera crew down there, Ivan the Terrible from Live X. He's on the outside of that final turn. That whole berm moved when Darrow hit it. This has been a good section for Jesse Wright. Gets a good drive out of the turn that time. I mean, it's sinking way deep into the suspension, bottoming out completely. But yeah, he did record another fastest lap that time around. But he's going to have to really put in lap record after lap record to close in and make the pass on Darrow. And then to keep that win is going to be a big ask. That was a good drive. He dived into that turn, got his foot up nice and high, was in the right gear. He's got a chance to go for the move here. He tried this last time around, and Darrow was able to just carry so much more speed on the outside. Jesse's good here, but this is where he made a mistake under braking into this hard right-hander before the tech zone. So he kind of needs to just calm it down, pick the right line. Don't know if that was the right line. Got much better drive though. But Darrow controlling this one into the tech zone. Maybe Jesse was a little bit too early on rolling off. Didn't get the drive. Climbed up the inside of that rut once again and probably lost around about 0.2 in that section. But it's keeping it nice and honest. It's nice to see him trying different lines and different options. You can't just follow the leader. There's no way you're going to be able to make the pass. So Jesse Wright doing the right thing, excuse the pun, just to try and figure things out and try and make the pass. Goes up the inside there. He's been scrubbing off that jump the whole way through the day. So he does find time, positions himself right next to the race leader and actually found a pass where no one else has found a pass. But he only held the lead for around about half a second, if that. And then Darrow was able to fight him back. But that's something that Jesse can keep in his back pocket for a while, because I'll check that line. A beautiful line from Darrow. He's riding right at the very top lip of that outside berm to try and find the hook. The track is pretty much screaming no more. There's not a lot of traction left out there, and there's not a lot of racing left out there. We've got 9.5 minutes plus a lap to go, as it's the Cam Darrow and Jesse Wright show. The old war, as we call it, KTM versus Yami. Enjoy the show. Both diving off the inside rut. It's a beautiful pull out of that corner that Jesse gets. Keeps going for that inside line. Kind of waiting for those guys to find each other. If Jesse just wants to, he could run right to the top of that previous berm and just shove Darrow up and over. It won't be nice, and there won't be any prize over the Christmas period if he does that. But yeah, it might be a win. It's not going to be a pretty pass, like I said. I think this is going to get ugly. Darrow's not going to make any mistakes. Jesse Wright is going to have to force this issue. But he's just not close enough to make anything happen at the moment. He's got kind of two sweet spots on the track where he's good. But by now, Cam Darrow knows about those, and he's going to cover them off. Here we go. Up the inside once again. So, yeah, he pulls up some time, but kind of a little bit too eager on the throttle on the Yami. He spins it up and doesn't get the drive. And then all the way down to the finish line here. There's a possibility of an inside here, but Darrow already knows that. So if you feel a rider close enough to you, then you hold the inside line. Jesse Wright almost touched the front there. Had to do a double dab just to make sure that he didn't tuck the front and go down. So he lives on. He either felt that though. He shoved his foot into the ground pretty hard. So you know, these motocross riders, by the end of the season, the knees are kind of crying out and cracking and crunching. So yeah, that was a heavy stub that Jesse Wright put into the ground there when he dabbed his left. Another mistake coming out of that bowl turn at the bottom there, that flat track turn. And yeah, there's pretty much zero traction out there on every single one of these corners. Dav Cocker, nice to pick up on Dav Cocker there. He's surviving that third place dice, himself and Josh Malimi. No issues for those guys. They're racing out of the same team, riding on the factory Huskies. But Dav Cocker absorbing the pressure quite nicely. Malimi not able to kind of drive forward too much, but we're in the zone where Malimi starts to come good. He gets stronger with around about 4 laps to go. and we're quite close to that zone right now, so he might be able to launch a late attack on his stable mates and good buddy Dav Cocker. So it's Cam Durrow on the factory, Red Bull Racing KTM, the multiple two-time champion this season, walking away with the MX1 and MX2 titles. Then we've got Jesse Wright just coming back from representing SA at the Motocross of Nations, bringing SA one of their highest finishes that we've had in a very long time, a very strong team that we sent out that side. Then Dav Cocker walking away with a cross-country title this year. Good numbers on the page for him. Kind of wants to focus a little bit on motocross next year, but he's able to run in all of the facets, so it's a multiple discipline contract for Cocker. Malimi, 4th place for him. He's in good shape. He'll no doubt keep his ride for next year. They tend to play a long game out there at Husqvarna, so we'll make sure that we announce when he gets the ink dry on his contract. Behind him, Jaden Proctor, the top dog, and the only Honda rider out there at the moment racing on the MX2 250 and MX1 450 gates. Cam Durrow just smashed a lap record, so Durrow has lit the afterburners now. We're now closing in on 5 minutes plus a lap, and Durrow has had enough of hanging around. He's going to run and hide, and instantly he's got a 4.6 second gap over second place Jesse Wright. So Jesse Wright has run out of options, and Durrow has finally found 5th gear. He's gone. So Durrow, you can see that all of that pressure that Jesse Wright was applying has led to nothing, unfortunately. It looks like the intensity is just too much. More and more mistakes coming in for Jesse as he tried to get onto the back wheel and make the pass on Durrow. And then Durrow lit the afterburners, and he is gone by the end of this lap. It's going to be a 5-second lead as he checks out and sets sail. So Wright, Cocker, Malimi, Proctor, Dean Wheeler's moved up quite nicely throughout the race, quietly making his way from the back of the pack up to 6th place. He put Ryan Adler, Fokelsang out of it. No shows for Stav Orland this time around, or Dalton Fenter, so just 8 riders on the gate to close out our racing championship and our second racing heat of the MX1s. Maybe a small reaction for Wright here. Maybe he just took a lap or two to just catch his breath. Pulled back a little bit of time. Last time around it was 4.6 seconds. Looks like it might be around about the 3.5 marker now, as we still have 4 minutes plus a lap to go. Nothing on the cards at the moment for Jesse, so just settling. You can see his body language, just settling for the number 2 spot right now. No one behind him for a long way, so he's cool with a number 2. Kind of keep an eye on the 3rd place dice. This is Jesse going into the flatland section, just in the background, just there, just crossing the stripe in the background there as they headed into that big fast sweeper was Dav Cocker and Malimi. Looked like Cocker still had the advantage, so right now it's the Jesse Wright show, and the factory star riding out of Tinswallow, out of Africa, Yamaha. He's brought home some really good rides this season, but yeah, you can see another mistake. He probably is shaking his head under there and just going, well, I kind of gave it everything I could for 6 minutes, but after that I ran out of options. So he'll be working on his intensity and holding his focus a little bit longer. That will be one of his programs that he'll kind of target in the off season before he comes forward into the 2024 championship. But yeah, I think Yamaha have got a good rider here, and hopefully he can continue with them and bring home some bacon and challenge for a championship in the 2024 tour. Look at all the media guys. They're getting those awesome end of day big rut shots where these guys are literally dragging their bars through the turns because the ruts are that deep. At least the Chestnut MX crew will be able to do some track repairs after this. A lot of guys will be doing Joburg by the Sea for Christmas. They'll be able to come and burn some practice laps here, so probably next week at some point they'll get the ripper out, sort this track out. You have no idea what a motocross track looks like after a race weekend. Man, the ruts are beyond knee deep sometimes on the inside, so it'll need some love. The rain will help it out, kind of soften it up again. They'll rip it up, and the guys can practice the whole way through Christmas. And then we go racing again. Haven't seen the calendar for next season for the motocross tour, but no doubt it'll start pretty early as we follow the MSA MX Championship Tour into a new season over the other side of the horizon. Jesse Wright looking good on the bike there. He's been working on his style a lot, getting up onto his toes a little bit more, so he's been really working on his position since he's become like a pro 450 rider. For many years racing out of the 125s and 250s, but for most people, if you talk to them in the pits, he's become a pro 450cc rider. That's where we see the best results coming out of him, and he's going to have to maybe just focus in on that for next year rather than switching between bikes. And yeah, 450 is where it's at for Jesse Wright and Swallow out of Africa racing Yamaha. Inside of a minute countdown for our race leader, Cam Darrow, who is now 7.3 seconds up the road from the Yami of Wright. So it's going to be 2 laps to go for our top pros. That means 2 laps of racing remaining in the 2023 MSA MX National Championship. It's been a long, tough season for all the riders, all the sponsors, and all the supporters for motocross, but it's cool that we could push the season as deep as we have into the early part of November to allow riders time to get onto the new machinery, have a good solid maybe a month and a half, maybe 2 months of off season to get themselves dialed in, do repairs and rebuilds on bikes and bodies and wallets, and then line up and do it all over again. There may be some new stops on the tour for next year as well. It's going to be exciting to see what develops. A lot of talk about motocross coming back to where it used to be in the 90s, and it's fun to be part of that as we look forward into quite a prosperous future for motocross in SA once again. No big changes in the 2s, 3s and 4s. So Jesse Wright, we've been watching him dominate. We go back to our race leader as we look at the last lap. Look at that, the way he slings his shoulders forward into those ruts. He's kind of proving a point here. The last 5 laps, Darrow has been unstoppable and unmatched, throwing down some rock and roll laps. And he's one of these kids, it's kind of upsetting. He takes his helmet off after one of these 20 minutes plus a lap motos, and he's not even huffing and puffing. So he's just showing what he can do right now. He already wrapped up the title. He's been pretty much unstoppable the whole way through this season. A win in every single round. Just a loss on the second heat at the previous round on day 2 down in Rover. But then today, 2 wins on the bounce. Unfortunately, today and the last day of Rover showed that it wasn't a golden championship. So it wasn't the perfect season, but it couldn't get much closer. This kid on the 58 machine has fast-tracked from the 85s through the 125s to the MX2s and MX1s. And this year on the National Championship Tour, which is this tour that you're watching right now, the MSA MX Championship Tour in 2023, on the 250s, Darrow only got beaten on 1 heat on 1 day. On the 450s, he only got beaten on 1 heat on 1 day. So apart from 2 heats of racing throughout a full season, he has been faultless. And that's a rare thing nowadays, with a talent pool running as deep as it does. One more time, up and over. A small no-footer to celebrate. A short right-hander, a short left-hander, and the final checkers are out for Cam Darrow on the factory KTM. And thanks for the show, Cam. Brilliant and very entertaining race. Thank you for the show, Jesse Wright, as well. Phenomenal riding, and he's going to get a big high five as well, because these guys were all over each other for those first 10 laps. Nothing but respect, nothing but love. See you on the gate next year, my brother. So let's get a confirmation of the results as they come on down the pipe. Cam Darrow will take the win ahead of Jesse Wright. Dav Cocker lines up. Big love for his brother out there as well. And those high fives aren't just for this race. The high fives and hugs are for the season. Darrow ahead of Wright, Cocker, Malimi. Proctor will join the party soon as the first of the Hondas, down in 5th place. And then Dean Wheeler in his comeback season on the 135 Yamaha will take a number 6 ride. That was the big show. We're going to go down to the pits, catch our breath, and get a couple of post-rider interviews before we sign off. But that was all of our racing action from the final round of the MSA MX Championship Tour in 2023. Stay with us as we catch some post-race action.
An amazing day, but it's also been an amazing season. Cam, take me through the day for starters.
So yeah, the day was pretty good. Started off super muddy in practice. Just got a third in MX1. Just tried to learn the track. MX2 managed to get the fastest time. MX2 first moto, got the whole shot. Was leading, but yeah, just couldn't get into the rhythm, and Stav got me. I was a bit bummed it ruined my perfect season, but it was so close. And then Moto 1 450s, got the whole shot, managed to get a gap and have a good moto. Moto 2 250s, again, Stav and I were battling. He stayed on me, he came past me after the rhythm section. I passed him back, he went back up the inside and he lost the front, unfortunately for him. So yeah, I got the lead again and won the moto, won the overall in MX2, and then MX1 again. Jason and I had a super cool battle. Was most of the moto. I think he only dropped off last 2 laps. So yeah, awesome day to end the season. A bit of a bummer that the season's over now, but yeah, it's been a super good year. Had so many good experiences, made some new friends, and yeah, just been a surreal season.
Dude, we'll let you go wrap up shop. I know your mum wants to take you out to the Spur afterwards for celebration, so I'll say high five. We'll see you on the gate next year. Guys, it's been an amazing season, really a huge part of this for us at LiveX. It's been great to be on the gate with all of these guys out there. We can't wait to be involved for the 2024 running of the championship. Thanks to everyone out here that's put it all together, to all the medics, the marshals, everyone who brought us down to the gate. Thanks to all the camera crew from LiveX. It's been fun. I'm Hollywood, and I'll be on the mic next year. We'll see you in 2024.